Part of the tradition of stock car racing at Daytona isn't just race day. It's several weeks of exhibitions, practice, qualifying, gearing up teams for the biggest race of the season. So while there's a week until drivers will fight for the Season 6 Area 500, tonight is qualifying night. They always say that to finish first, you must first finish, but with a field this size, they should also say to finish first, you must make the field. You got to be in it to win it. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Sim TV. We're getting geared up here for Season 6 of the Area iRacing Cup Series. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Finian DeCuna and Hunter Sleppy tonight. Finian, welcome back to Daytona and the high banks here, the 2.5-mile tri-oval. Tonight is one of the largest fields we've ever seen, all going for a limited number of spots in next week's Area 500 field.
Yeah, this is absolutely fantastic to see. We have 52 drivers showing up here to make it into the show. Of course, there are 36 charter positions, so they're going to be making it nonetheless. However, 16 drivers are going to be fighting for just 7 remaining spots in the open position, so that's going to be a lot to fight for. That's going to mean the duels are going to be really interesting to watch. It's going to be a lot on the line for those drivers and quite a few at the end of the night going home empty-handed.
Absolutely, especially some of those that were with teams a season ago, like Bryce Senestad was a part of David Weiss iRacing, but no more. We've got different faces in new places and just new teams in general that are showing up, which, like I mentioned, Senestad was a driver last year for David Weiss iRacing. Now he's an open driver, but he's a reserve driver for the Vizicus Motorsports Group.
Yeah, there's a lot of new names and new faces, as you pointed out, Hunter, and the field right now is well over 50, fighting for much fewer than that spots on the course. So tonight we've got kind of two different sections of qualifying happening. We've got our single car qualifying, which is first up, and that's where drivers will set themselves into their order for their duels, and then two twin 30-lap duels, Finian, and that will set the order for next week's Area 500. But there's a lot of drivers that would really just love to qualify on that front row and not have to worry about making it through. In a field this big with the potential for disaster, you could miss this 500, and it would be a big deal if you're one of those open drivers.
It definitely can be a big deal, and we're going to see, who really has what it takes here to go around here. And there's not a whole lot you can do. If anything, you're just going to kind of hope the best, hope things play out in your favor. And with the weather, I don't think that's going to be a factor either. I believe we're running static weather and static times just to make it that much more even. You can't get that lucky gust of wind heading down the back straightaway just the right time to get yourself on pole. It's going to take a little bit of skill to make up thousands, quite literally thousands of seconds that these drivers are going to be fighting for.
We're in Season 6, and there's only been one driver to win from the pole at the Area 500. That's Brad Slaughter. He's looking to become the second driver to go 2 for 2. I shouldn't say 2 for 2, but become another two-time winner. Last season, it was Travis Beckner getting the job done, which, by the way, after qualifying, we're going to have our dual races. Beckner is the only one that has won the Area 500 after winning a dual race. Got to go back to Season 3. He won in duel number 2 and was able to get the job done, and there he is right there. And looking to become the first 3-time Area 500 winner.
Yeah, he's going to be a man on a mission tonight. We've got a handful of drivers joining us from Zoom this evening, so we can keep an eye on their progress tonight. We've got David Weishart, who's back again for more this season. Same with Connor Horn. He's one to watch. He'll also be in the booth for the Florida State Builders Pro Series and for the Truck Series this season. And a couple new additions. Emerson Arden in the number 57. Matthew Morton is going to join us here as well. And Brett Pucari is also here, and Michael Curhan, as always, has joined us with a message there that he's not using the cool suit, guys, but he's racing in the summer in Texas, and the NASCAR drivers need to suck it up, Finian.
Very pointed. Actually, I literally just went to go turn to my right to turn my fan on because it's getting a little bit hot in my basement. The heat wave has struck the U.S. It's hot everywhere, pretty much. There's no really cool places in sight. You can see there is Ricky Springer, notably no VR for this season. Normally he's running man in VR. Actually, I don't think we have seen his eyes on the broadcast now that I think about it, because he's always had a VR headset on. But switching to triples just because he's been having trouble with the VR headset working, constantly crashing on him. So going to be running triples for this season.
Doesn't want anyone reading his thoughts, Hunter.
No, I wouldn't want anyone reading my thoughts either.
All right. Well, practice is concluding here, so we're going to head down to the racetrack for our qualifying session. Of course, this is going to take a little while here, but they're all staggered along the way, so it should be fun to watch and go along pretty quickly here. Race fans, make sure you subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. As a subscriber, you'll have Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat, and you can earn double channel points that you can use to and redeem for free merchandise for just $5 a month. Join today, twitch.tv/Area iRacing. Well, with that said, we've got our qualifying ticker counting down. Now we've got 2 hours to get all of this done, and the first driver up is going to be one of the rookies. There are many in the field, and it is Jake Emery in the 0-2 Finian.
Yeah, and so we're, as far as the order is concerned, we are going to be going in reverse championship order from last season. For all the newer drivers joining us this season, they are being randomized. So it's going to be a lot of new names within the first 13, 15 drivers, and then more familiar names approaching as we get further down the order.
There are a plethora of rookies from what I'm looking at. It's over in the area Discord in the Cup Series chat. There's at least 18 rookies that are going at it. Don't believe JT Pool's here, so that's going to make it a little bit easier for some of these guys trying to make it into the field. But a plethora of rookies, like I said, Kyle. A lot of rookies looking to make a name for themselves here in the Area Cup Series.
And what a way to do it. This is a huge field here tonight. You can bet that there'll be a lot of eyeballs on each individual qualifying run as Jacob Emery's Chevrolet heads down the back straightaway. And there is some strategy involved with how you take a lap around here at Daytona, Finian. You might just think you could just pin it to the line and go fast, but that's what everyone else is going to do. So the nuance really matters here in order to maximize your time.
Yeah, it's going to be the finer things. You know, at what point do you turn in? How much do you come off the corner? Do you pinch it to the WL line? Do you come up a little bit more? And even the warm-up lap as well. You see him running up high and coming down to the line. He's going to start his qualifying attempt.
Yeah, only get one lap here, so you're going to want to make the most of your opportunity, and it's going to duck to the bottom. Now, it's a bit of an interesting line. I would have thought they'd stick to the bottom, usually what we see in the Cup Series and real-life racing. As soon as they cross that start-finish line, they just hug it to the bottom all the way around, but going to go up a little bit on the backstretch.
So we'll see what he does at the halfway mark here, and it is a 24.907. So we've got our sector marker on the back straightaway. Give us an idea of how they're doing along the first half of the course. And then after 3 and 4, it's that start-finish line that will tell all. Here comes Jacob Emery out of turn number 4. On the bottom of the screen, we'll have miles an hour, and on the left-hand side of the screen, we're going to have the lap time. Here comes Jacob Emery across the stripe. What's it going to be? Lap number 1. It is a 179.4 mile an hour lap, 49.732.
He's effectively setting the benchmark here, and everyone else is going to be looking at that, and that's essentially going to be the benchmark, especially for the open drivers, which majority of the rookies, I believe, are.
Now, Nathan Jump is going to be next on this list, and the fun part about this is going to be scrolling up and down the field to find Nathan Jump.
He is all the way at the bottom, at least for me.
And you got it. Here comes Nathan Jump. He's already on his lap. About 20 seconds through here, Hunter, onto the back straightaway.
Yeah, Nathan Jump had an interesting season last year where he won a truck race or two, but wasn't able to complete the rest of the season for Physicus Motorsports. But he's back in the Cup schedule, as you can see there with the Physicus Motorsports name on the hood, as he's rolling through 3 and 4, looking to beat Emery's time.
Onto the front straightaway here. 24.876, just a hair quicker than Emery. And Jump across the stripe, and it is 49.6. So it'll go to the top. And Seth Berger will begin his lap. The number 77.
Now he goes to the stripe across the line for the number 77 machine. He will start his session, and you see him sticking a little bit more down to the left side of the track, to the bottom side of the track, and this is what I was expecting to see more Emery do. We were talking to Hunter, you mentioned that he was a little bit up higher on that turn, which again, it's not going to cost you a whole lot of time, but these drivers are also not fighting for a whole lot of time. It's fighting for thousandths of a second.
Yeah, it's just the little things that matter, like you mentioned, Finian, and all depends on if you get a little bit of a tailwind down the straightaway or how you navigate your way through 3 and 4. It's just the slightest flick of the wrist can determine your starting position between 5th or 25th.
24.892 kind of splits the difference between the front two so far. And Seth Berger needs to beat a 49.697. And it is 179.574, and he will go second quick.
Yeah, And next driver up, it's going to be Landon, the number 19 machine. The unsponsored look, I like it. The old white machine coming to the line.
Landon Cardullo rather, in the 19. Begin his qualifying lap here, Hunter. Let's see what he's got. And yeah, as Finian mentioned, that unsponsored look, rookie stripes on the rear. And as with most of the drivers we've seen so far, 3 of the 4 at least, another rookie.
Yeah, another rookie. This time it's Landon Cardullo. I believe he is on a team this year. I'm trying to look through, or he might be an open driver.
He's with Tank Racing.
He is with Tank Racing. That's one of the newer teams in there, which actually how they formed. So at the end of each season, the team at the bottom of the team standings loses their team. And that was Powerhouse Racing, but they acquired charter from Jacob Bell Racing, so they're still a thing. But that's how Tank Racing was able to get their charters, and Landon Cardullo, one of the drivers for that team, going to come through and put down his lap for the Area 500.
And what's going to be 49,763 rather, puts him 4th. That's about all he's going to have. Emerson Arden is next in the number 57. Here he comes.
And the 57 actually teammates with Cardullo and Seth Berger. They're all with Tank Racing. You can throw in Max Service, who I think will be slightly later up on the roster to get a time up there. Round he will go to start his lap. You got Tank Racing on the card.
Yeah, very colorful 57. This one is hard to miss it. Stands out, especially through the turns of Daytona, and going to glow even more down the backstretch as just looking to get a solid lap in. And like you mentioned, teammates of Landon Cardullo, also Seth Berger, Max Service as well.
Don't know if this is fully up to date, but Emerson has also worked extensively with Pit Stop TV with Andrew Cardinale over there as a broadcaster and announcer. And it's always fun. I've been in the position a couple of times. I've been in races that are broadcast. It's really fun to be on the other side of the microphone. Here comes Arden across the stripe, and his lap is going to be 179.3 miles an hour. He's going to go 5th quick.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's going to be at the bottom of the board, 9,000s off of Cardullo's time. And we look at our next driver up on the list, 97. Reese Schaefer going to come to the stripe and take a lap. Also, Pit Stop TV on the side of that car.
Yeah, so this is a reserve driver for Tank Racing. In case any of this plays more into the team standings factor, where reserve drivers can come in and help get team points for that team. There's a lot of, like I mentioned, a lot of different guys here that are listed as open drivers, but are a reserve driver for any of the teams that need so whenever there's an emergency situation.
Reese Schaefer off into turn 3. Right up against that yellow line. A little bit of a wiggle there on entry. Just the slightest bit. And 24.903, so kind of right co-requisite with what we've seen so far on the back straightaway. We'll see what Reese Schaefer's got in this number 97 Chevrolet. Average speed across the stripe is 179.536, and it will put him P3 of those that have qualified so far.
Yeah, it's smack dab in the middle of the field. Again, so as we get more and more drivers, starting to see where that baseline is going to end up for a lot of these drivers. Whether it's going to be good or bad for them. Of course, Nathan Jump, the man to beat. Matthew Morton, though, coming across the line, number 18 car, and he will start his lap.
Yeah, Matthew Morton, a newcomer for area, part of the Slinger Racing Graphics esports group, which he's actually a NASCAR college driver for Ohio State University. So if you're a Michigan fan, sucks to be you. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that because they won the national championship for college football last year. But nonetheless, he's looking to make his presence felt. Also with rookie Lewis Foster as well. 2 new drivers heading over to Slinger Racing Graphics ahead of Ricky Springer. So Ricky Springer got a good group going on.
Matthew Morton through turns 3 and 4, a 24.859. That's on the quicker end of what we've seen so far across the sector stripe and into the timing zone, 179.599, and that puts him to the top by a thousandth of a second.
New baseline set from the number 18 car. We'll see what the next driver can do. That's going to be Nick Silver in the 99 machine. He's coming out of turn 4 with his Ford Mustang. There he is. What a beautiful looking car. I love that cream white.
Cream's always a good looking color, as Silver he'll be attempting to make his 13th Cup start of his career. He's only got 1 top 10 and 2 laps led in 12 Cup starts, but None of that really matters whenever you're at Daytona. Your only goal is to, well, at this point, is to qualify for the race since he's an open driver. But once you're into the show, the only thing that matters is getting that trophy at the very end of the day. So we'll see what he can do here as he rounds through 3 and 4.
24.901 at the sector line. On the quicker end, this is trending P2 at the moment as Nick Silver rounds turn 4 here, and banking flattens out, and let's see what the second of the Mustangs can do. Only one on the board so far. It is second place, and this 179.581, pretty solid time, puts him P3.
P3, and he missed out by 0.005 of a second. It's already getting extremely tight near the top of the standing. Next driver is Lewis Foster coming to the line in the 26 machine. Yeah, an interesting thing for Lewis Foster, well, two interesting things. Number one, from the UK, and number two, Indy Next driver for Andretti Global.
Yeah, current Indy Next driver competing here in area as a part of the Slinger Racing Graphics esports banner. Him and Morton, new teammates there, looking to shake things up here in the landscape of area.
Saw the Andretti Global logo there right on the rocker panel. Down into turn 3 goes Foster, and let's see at the sector line. I don't think that is a continuous run to the sector, so we'll have to ignore that one, and we'll be waiting for him to cross the full timing line to get the true result here. Let's see what Foster's got. Let's see what that Toyota can do. That's not right. 49.704, and that is going to put him P5 for the moment.
Right in the middle. Next driver up. Let's see.
Andrew Payne?
I believe so. I'm trying to see where he is.
I found him down towards the bottom, number 70. And he's already beginning his run into turn 1 in his Chevrolet Californian in this this red Camaro. Wheels on Wheels sponsorship there, Hunter, and looking good so far.
Yeah, he's a part of the Lucky Doug Motorsports group. Him and Trey Edison, two rookies that are coming in and filling in the gaps for Lucky Doug Motorsports. Got Ed Shearer Jr. and Douglas Newbigging coming back to the group, but like I said, left 2 drivers slots open, and he was able to take one of those slots, and we'll see what he can do with his lap time.
Ran out of turn 4 across the line. What does the number 70 Payne got? If you have anything, down he'll go below the WL line like we see most of the other drivers do. 196.998. That's going to put him in 6th. Going to put him around midfield again.
The next car I have was AT Pool, but I don't see him.
No, I don't believe he is here. Max Service is out there running his lap in the 81 machine.
Here he is, picked him up. Canadian in the quite metallic looking Chevrolet Camaro, this number 81.
Reminds me of I think the Exalta scheme that I think Alex Bowman ran once or twice.
Yeah, if you're a Hendrick Motorsports fan, you recognize that scheme from a mile away. I think me and Brad were snapping our fingers, pointing at the screen like, I know where that's from. I know where that's from. But yeah, Max Service, newcomer here in area, looking to make his presence felt. He's the 3rd driver, I believe, from Tank Racing that's gone out and qualified. We'll see what his lap time is off for.
A whole host of Chevrolets so far, only a couple of Toyotas and 2 Fords. And for Max Service, that is 179.522, and that's going to be 8th quick.
Here comes Jackson Anderson across the line in the number 83 machine, starting off his run. And he's also going to go a little bit higher.
He's got a car ahead of him here, but I think I don't know that was supposed to happen that way. But either way,
I don't think so either.
Will drop to the bottom and go right by without any hindrance. Didn't have to lift or anything, but he'll rock it out of turn 2. We'll see. Well, actually, he's going to pull off.
Yeah, I got a call from the admin, Carter Coop. He's going to be resetting, mix up in the order.
And here's Drew Jula in the number 13.
I'll say from the order we were given, the 83 was the next one up, and then the 13 was supposed to go after him. So not sure what's going on there, but nonetheless, we're going to get this all situated. It's still have plenty of time to get all these guys in.
Plenty of time, and the drivers are given 3 attempts as well, so it's all accounted for. Also, I guess while we're doing a little bit of reset, shout out to Carter Coop, trying to make things go smooth. As smooth as they can.
Yeah, and this is always you don't ever want to get everyone an advantage. And anytime that you're trailing a car, even out of order, you could just say, well, just keep going, but they're going to get a slight bit of draft that wouldn't be fair. So you have to reset everyone from zero, and it looks like Jackson Anderson had rolled out of pit lane, but he has come to a stop again. So it looks like
and
there he goes.
Go out again, so...
And Emerson reminding us in chat that he did do a SimTV broadcast a couple years back. I can't remember exactly what show it was, but I do remember having Emerson on.
Yeah, at this point it's kind of hard to remember, right?
Gosh, it's...
after 6 years of broadcast, I think at least 1,000 of them by now.
Oh, more than that for sure. We were at 1,000 a while ago, but time has flown. In our 6th year of operation.
Yep.
Down the back straightaway, Jackson Anderson is getting warmed up. And because you only get one lap, running this high line in 3 and 4 has kind of been the popular way. You're lengthening that out lap, letting yourself get fully up to speed. Some might choose to drop down the banking right there and use the gravity to pull yourself downhill just a bit easier. Let those revs climb up. Let's see what Jackson Anderson is going to do, as he's got his green flag this time for real.
Yep, another attempt for him. Across the line he will go, no interference, so he can continue on. But then he's doing this thing again where he's running a little bit high up on the short run to turn 1 out of the tri-oval. And now keeping it down low. We'll see if this gives him any sort of advantage.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Whenever they come off the turn and through the straightaway, we'll see it again right here. It's almost like he's just carrying the car through the corner, like letting the car move itself rather than just hugging that double yellow line throughout the part of the racetrack.
906 at the sector line, so that's kind of up in the top half or so. See what Jackson Anderson is going to get. Now, the one thing you didn't have to worry about is engine temperatures climbing because of that second attempt, because you're going to get a brand new car every time you reset. Across the stripe for Anderson, and it's 179.563, and Anderson goes 6th quick.
It's right in the middle of the field, and a decently quick time compared to everyone else. Only 10 thousandths off of the pole time. Here comes Drew.
The hard one to pronounce when you're...
I was trying to see if I can get to my name pronunciation list quick enough.
Well, the Georgian driver and the number 13, the Wheels on Wheels car, Chevrolet Camaro. Out of turn 2 and onto the back straightaway now, heading down the Daytona super stretch. And just the absolute focus and look at how still he is off into turn 3.
I mean, you can't move any little bit of costing thousandth of a second.
It will.
Full concentration for the number 13 machine. Normally a number with bad luck. We'll see if he has any luck come his way. Out of turn 4 and to the stripe.
49.699.
Good enough for 3rd, I believe.
That's solid time. Wow, 3 thousandths off.
And that's a look at the reserve driver for Lucky Duck Motorsports. You saw the color scheme. Very fitting color scheme, by the way, since we're surely approaching the 4th of July. Here is Trey Edison now. And this is the other driver that I was talking about earlier from Lucky Duck Motorsports, the 2nd driver, the newest addition for the team.
Trey Eidson in the 78 through 1 and 2 on the bottom of the racetrack, and it's just fascinating to see how consistent. I'm not sure if it's something with the next-gen car, but they don't really seem to scrub any speed or gain much speed down the straightaways. It's between 178 and 180 all the way around. I feel like in the past with the Gen 6 cars, you might gain a few more miles an hour on the straight and scrub some more in the corners, but that was all due to the restrictor plate configuration. Now with the tapered spacer, not necessary. And Trey Eidson in the number 78. Let's see what he's got. And it's 179.584, and it is 4th quick. Not bad at all.
Solid time for him. Pulls it off the racetrack. Next driver up. That is going to be Robert Colgan in the number 94 machine. This is kind of weird for me because I normally roll the 94, and almost no one else I ever see on iRacing does, which is why I like that number.
Yep, Robert Colgan, the Pennsylvania native. He's another open car, so going to need a solid time here, preferably inside the top 5, I would assume. That's where I would be comfortable at. Well, obviously, I'd be more comfortable if I was P1, but as long as you're inside that top 5 threshold, Kyle, I believe that should be good enough for the duel.
24.906, that's identical to a couple other drivers that have run so far, so this is going to be in the top 10 of those that have run so far. But running slightly higher up, leaving 5 or 6 feet there off that yellow line fitting. We'll see if it pays off for him.
See if it pays off. I just find it funny that his car says outlier. Essentially is an outlier coming into this race. Across the line for him, he's trying to make sure he's not an outlier. Can he get near the top is the big question. Across the line for him, 49.760. That'll put him, unfortunately, back in 13th.
Unfortunate lap time there as Philip Groner, this is another newcomer from the Carolinas. The Solar Flare Racing reserve driver, to be exact. So Solar Flare Racing, they've also got a reserve driver in there as well. And looking through at their main cup team, it's a pretty stacked team to say the very least. But this guy learning in the threshold of Jake Nichols alone and the newcomer James Scioli, a new addition to the team. It's got to be a good feeling for that number 11.
Yeah, looking good so far. We'll see what the sector line looks like, though. And it is a 24.886. That's on the faster end of the drivers we've seen so far.
Let's see if he can keep it up there. I mean, he's got a lot to live up for with running the Solar Flare Racing banner, one of the more dominant teams in area consistently across the board, and especially coming into this season, that stack lineup. He's the reserve driver, trying to show that he's more than just a reserve driver. Across the line for him, will it be a good enough time?
I don't think so. 179.467, only 13th quick.
Towards the bottom of the current order, 16 drivers qualify. The next one up, Peyton Howell, I believe.
Not on course at the moment.
Not on course. Jonathan Oates is on course. He's on lap 1 in the number 45 machine.
I find Jonathan Oates on screen. There he is. So it looks like Howell was not ready to rip. Unfortunately, that's going to see if they get him reordered later or if that is a missed attempt. This 45 looks fantastic, doesn't it? Looks very much like those X-Side cars of the 90s.
Yes, thank you. I was trying to wonder where I've seen this kind of paint scheme before. It was on the tip of my tongue, but yeah, absolutely beautiful use of color across that scheme. See, that beautiful looking race car can get near the top.
And me being the boomer that I am, I recognize that as Chris Seidenfeiden because he was the only one to run the 45 from the early days of area, but the new racer and the 609 reserve driver heads across the start-finish line to put up a time.
Oates does top of the board, 49.691 and 179.619 miles an hour. Not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. And it looks like the next driver up is going to be the 35, Brett Pincari, out on the racetrack. Unfortunately, yeah, we're skipping Adam Cabot, not in the server, it seems.
It's unfortunate. Adam Cabot's a name that you and I recognize.
Yeah, one of the newer drivers for 609, himself and Bailey Turner joining that stable, both familiar names to both you and I, Kyle, as well as people familiar with SimTV. But Brent Pincari out there going to take that spot. We'll see if Cabot joins us later, because he did join the server at one point, but Pincari out there in the 35, Princess Daisy on the side of that car.
Yeah, very interesting paint scheme and even more interesting setup back there. And me being the Steelers fan I am, I already know I'm going to like this guy. You can see that terrible towel there in the background for any of those Steelers fans that are watching through. But here he comes off turn 4 and through the trial hole looking to put up a fast time.
Honestly, I thought that was a fake background. He's green screened in, but no, on second thought, it is very much real. 10th place for Brett Pincari.
Should also mention one of the 3 Canadians in the field, number 35 machine, which makes it funny that he's a Steelers fan.
Braxton Deweese, Ohioan, in the 00, begins his lap in his Ford Mustang. Got 18 cars on the board now. This will be the 19th so far.
Trying to find where there he is on my score. I was trying to find where he was located. Braxton Deweese, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure he's run in area before, if I'm not mistaken. Right, Hunter?
The name sounds familiar, but I have no cup stats from him.
I remember, I think he might have been a Florida State Builders Pro Series driver, if I recall.
That's what it is, okay.
He's definitely run before. It could either be trucks or Pro Series, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But yes, he's been here with us before, making a Cup Series start this time. And let's see what Braxton Deweese has got for the field. It's better than a 179.6. That's good. A 49.688, top of the board by 2 1/1000ths.
And up he will go, now setting the new benchmark. Finally, someone to Thrones, Jonathan Oates from the 45. And here comes Bailey Turner. This is a name we're both familiar with. And normally the number 24 car, but unfortunately that number is taken by our incumbent champion. So he's got it set up for the 25 machine with the 609 Motorsports car of Bailey Turner out there running his laps.
Yeah, in case anyone had any questions of what team he's running for, it's right there plastered on the hood of his Chevrolet as he heads down the backstretch.
Yeah, Bailey Turner, this is a driver that I think is going to be, if he can get through this race here in Daytona and really get off to a good start, I think that Bailey Turner has shown that he is able to really parlay momentum into race wins and a championship hunt. So he's one of these drivers that's coming in this season that we are familiar with. We know his talent level, and he will absolutely be a force to be reckoned with if they can get started on the right foot here in the 609 Motorsports crew. Bailey Turner on the 25, what's he got for the field? 19 qualifiers so far, and it is a 49.729, and that will put him 15th of the 20 so far.
Probably not the qualifying effort we would have hoped for, but he'll be on the board nonetheless. And now we go to Adam Capps, and now we start to get into some of the more familiar drivers in the field. Halfway through the order, Capps across the line in the 55, and he will start his lap in his Toyota Camry.
Yeah, Adam Capps getting back into area. He's got a team in the Truck Series, but listed as an open driver here with 14 Cup starts to his name. Only one top 5, 2 top 10s, and 2 laps led in those 14 starts. Looking to make it 15, though, as he works his way down the backstretch.
See what he's got at the sector line here. See if he's got, 24.914. That's on the slower end of the 9s that we've seen. Up the racetrack a bit, though, that's been a lucky move so far, just to not hold that radius quite so tight. Capps in his number 55. New livery here, Finian, as well.
Yeah, it's a beautiful looking car. We'll see if that car can end up near the top, though. Lets it off turn 4 a little bit for the car to breathe. Comes back down on the apron across the line. And it's going to be one of the slower times we've seen back in 20th for the 55.
Like I mentioned, been a while since we've seen Adam Capps here, so still trying to get into the rhythm of things. But we have seen Ryan Swan here before, part of the Swan Motorsports stable. He didn't race last year, but that team came about after they acquired charters from David Weishart Racing. So Garrick Rain and David Weishart themselves are still with the team, just rebranded under Swan Motorsports, and newcomer Ryan Swan, obviously, and Mason Kane as well. And if you recall last year, Mason Kane won the first dual race, so looking to go back-to-back here, but we're on board with Swan, looking to put down a flying lap time.
Center of the back straightaway again, drops to the bottom for the entry to 3. Hugging that yellow line a bit tighter than the last few competitors. Turn 4 looking pretty good, but again was tight on that line in 3 and 4. Is that the way to do it here? Let's find out where Ryan Swan will be. Out of 21 so far, it is 179.564 to 49.706. 10th quick, basically right down the middle.
Yeah, right in the middle he will go. We'll see how he's going to enjoy that. Again, it's a charter driver, so doesn't have to really worry about making the show or not, but of course he wants to have a better starting position for the main event next week. James Shainwolf now in the 75. He goes out on the track, starting his lap in his Ford Mustang, rocketing towards turn 1, keeping it a little bit lower than we've seen some other drivers.
Yeah, we've seen James Shainwolf time and time before. He's going to try and make the full season this time around. The OG area viewers can recall back from season 1 when we had an ARCA series. He was the inaugural and still only ARCA series champ there. The Swift Lifestyle Pro Series, that's what you see. Yeah, went out on top, undefeated. So, looking to make a name for himself in the Cup Series, looking to get some good results here, and looking to make the Area 500.
24.916 at the sector line, probably not where he'd like to be. Let's see what he's got across the stripe. James Shainwolf in the number 75, 179.3 miles an hour, 49.773, and slowest so far. You see the disappointment there.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was definitely a late transition that he had going from off the tri-oval. Should have transitioned a little bit more. And again, it's these little things that count. He's only a thousandth of a second off the next highest guy, so that could have been what cost him here. Here's Brad Slaughter, though, very familiar driver to us in the 88 machine, new colors this season as well. Beautiful looking car.
Yeah, he's got the High Banks podcast colors and sponsorship on his car. He's actually part of one of their most newer episodes, episode 205. You can listen to that on Spotify. And like I mentioned before, he's won the Area 500 from the pole, the only pole starter to do just that. So he's looking to get his second pole and looking to get season 6 off to a good start.
Yeah. Sector line 24.863. That's a pretty solid time at that first timing line. See if he can parlay it to a provisional pole. 23 competitors have gone so far. Brad Slaughter's going to make it 179.593, 49.698, and that'll put him 5th. Not a bad lap.
Not a bad lap at all. I think that's around where we'd be kind of hoping to end up in, especially given how tight the margins are. 9,000ths of a second off the pole time, and he was actually he was tied with Nathan Jump for 4th, just slightly slower, it seems, according to the sim. Mason Kane across the line for his lap. I think he's on lap number 2, but I believe this is his main lap. Yes, it is his main lap that he's going on right now. In the number 31 machine, a new driver, part of Swan Motorsports, joining Ryan Swan after that team rebranded in the 31 machine.
Yeah, he's working it down the backstretch. He was 7th at the white flag of the first duel race and was able to work his way into the winning position and was able to start inside row 2. But obviously, winning the pole would be much better because you wouldn't have to worry too much about the duel. You'd have your positions locked in, even if not pole, just a front row starting spot.
Off the sector stripe, it didn't look like it was going to break any records, but it shouldn't be super bad. And that lap's of 179.576, 49.702, and that should put him 9th. Top 10 run there for Mason Kane.
Solid job for him, and as kind of look at the qualifying order at the moment, it looks like we have at the top of the board for Braxton Deweese, I believe he's an open driver, correct, Hunter?
Yes, he is listed as an open driver as Ben Pierce.
As well as Ben Pierce is currently on his lap. So 2 open drivers holding the top 2 spots at the moment. Again, we're starting to get into the creme de la creme of the field as we go further on down. Ben Pierce in the 65 out there in his Mountain Dew machine.
Great looking car that he's got. Big old number on the side, can't miss that one. And Ben Pierce rockets down the Daytona super stretch, 24.905. Now Mason Kane's sector time wasn't really all that impressive, but he managed to pull it together in the second half of the lap and went top 10. Ben Pierce looks to be on a similar trajectory here.
Rocketing to the start-finish line, into the tribal he will go, across the line. Can he do the do?
Oh, 4th.
Oh, solid run for him.
That's a great run. Cameron Hearn in the number 4, he is up next. And this is a driver that has really shown lots of flashes of speed, but also at times, Hunter, has gotten caught up in some drama. It's always fun to watch Cameron Hearn going for it.
Yeah, only 1 top 5 and 1 top 10 this season to go with 24 laps led. An average finish of 20th, but looking to shake things up for season 6. And one good thing for him and Physiques Motorsports is that everyone has stuck together. There's been at least 1 driver change from every Area Cup Series team except Physiques Motorsports. You got the defending champion, Michael Curran, still there. Greg Mitchell, Dom DeLeo, and Cameron Hearn, who's putting down the time as he works his way through turn 4.
24.968, not the best at the halfway mark here, Finian, but Cameron Hearn, those stats last season don't describe how quick he is, just how unlucky he has been. Let's see how lucky he gets tonight, and it is 49.728. It's going to put him down towards the bottom, it looks like around 19th place.
Yeah, probably not where he wanted to end up. But again, I think he's just looking this season just to have something a little bit more consistent. Had the pace, just not the consistency. As we paid to our next driver, Justin Bonner, in the number 9 machine. New colors for him as well. Monster Energy on that car, looking good in green. He rockets across start-finish line for his lap.
Yeah, he's, again, part of that Powerhouse Racing stable that folded but then rebranded after acquired charters from Jacob Bell Racing. So he essentially never left, had a top 10 last year and lap led, but looking to overcome the average finish of 23rd, trying to make it a little bit better this time around.
Well, at the sector stripe, 24.916. It's trying to be around 15th to 20th place. This is where that turns 3 and 4 get really important. Wash up just a bit. Make sure your radius isn't scrubbing any speed off out of those front tires. Look good. Nice steady turn 4. And Justin Bondurant in the number 9. Let's see what he's got for the field. 27 qualifiers, and it's a 179.435. And that is going to land him in 23rd.
And to our next driver, we go to Jacob Bell in the Florida State Builders car. Number 6 machine across the line, he will go. And I think one thing we definitely know for Jacob Bell is he's had some rotten luck on the super speedways, not because he's not finished poorly. He's gotten close to winning, and I think twice he's been caught out by timing loops with a last-second caution.
Yeah, that happened in the same season. I want to say that was season 4, which the Area 500 and at Talladega, which we actually just looked at. We looked at that back a week or so ago, me and Jake and a bunch of others, and we still don't know how Jake Nichols was declared the winner, but nonetheless, we're going to move past that, and he has yet to win so far in his area career, regardless of Cup, Pro Series, trucks. 1 top 5, 1 top 10 a season ago, and he's the reserve driver for Powerhouse Racing as he comes across the stripe.
Picked him up a little late, so the sector time wasn't quite right, so this is going to be a corrected time. There it is, 4th, 179.599. That's a nice solid lap there for Jacob Bell in the 6.
Yeah, again, he's had some solid performance on the super speedway, so not too unexpected to see him up near the top there. Bryce Senezek rolling in the 09 machine across the stripe. He will go. Doing his black and green paint scheme from last season. Updates to it, though, as rockets into turn 1, and I believe running open again this season, right? Was he open last season as well, Hunter?
No, he was a part of David Weishart Racing last season. So he is an open driver this season, but he's listed as the reserve driver for Fazekas Motorsports, and he's got a new team in the truck series, 0ix Racing, which is just 09 Racing. So very exciting to see him have a new team and see what he can do there, but also see what he can do here on the Cup side of things. He had a couple top 10s last year, but there's always room for improvement, Kyle.
Really liking that livery, too. Very swoopy there on the side. Will it translate, though, to a quick lap at Daytona? Bryce Senezek in the 09, 179.472, 49.731, and 22nd quick. And looked a little disappointed in that to boot.
Yeah, I was probably hoping to be a little bit further up the order. Next is Dom DeLeo in the number 22 machine across the line for him. New look for the 22 machine. Just saw his reserve teammate, Bryce Senezek, put a lap down, and now here comes Dom DeLeo to put another time down for Fazekas Motorsports.
Yeah, Dom DeLeo, only 1 top 5, 2 top 10s last year. Didn't get any laps led, so there's always room for that category to be changed. Average finish of 19th, and Kyle, I don't know about you, but the colors on this remind me a little bit of Casey Kane in the Mopar scheme, where it's all white and then it's got that blue tint to it.
Yeah, there was a Jeremy Mayfield car maybe that also this reminds me of. Memory's a little fuzzy, but yeah, looks good. Looks the part. 24.874 at the sector. That's not bad at all. Let's see if it translates this Ford Mustang to the top of the board or close to it. Across the stripe, 49.701. Should be inside the top 10 or very close to it. It's 11th.
Solid run for the 22 car as he mows it down in turn 1. Out of turn 4, though, is Garrett Grant in the number 5 machine. And shameless plug there for the iRacing shop.
Yeah, Garrett Grant, very consistent last year, had 5 top 10s to his name, average finish of 20th. Did have that 1 top 5 finish, but yeah, very new and bright colors there on that number 5 Toyota area shop. Make sure you check out the website, shop.iRacing.com. Got some merch items that are being discounted because they're about to go out, and once they're done, and you can't order them again. So make sure you head over there and get all your merch and accessory needs from the area.
I really like that livery. That is a great looking car. And 24.887, and those that have been in the 24.8s have been close to the top 10. This is a hair slower than Dom DeLeo, who we just saw. But let's see what he's got. Garrett Grant in the number 5 area, Dodge Shop Toyota Camry. 179.454. It's a 49.736. He fell off the second half of the lap, but corrects to a, well, 49.706 puts him 17th.
Up next on the order is going to be Connor Kresik in the number 14. Interesting thing I noticed, I jumped at him getting on the track. Normally you'd think these guys want to get on the track, floor it all the way around, build up that momentum. Well, Kresik didn't really floor it out until out of turn 2. He was kind of taking it slow out of it. That's why he's kind of a little bit further behind across the line. Then we picked him up further back than most of the other drivers. So interesting approach to qualifying. We'll see if this plays out for him.
I believe he's the first of the Solid Rock Performance drivers to go out there and put a time down, in which case he had an average finish of 21st, but he did have 6 top 10s to his name, so there was speed there, and we know he's capable of running up towards the front, especially at these super speedways. Hasn't been able to get the job done as far as winning or getting the top 5 finishes, only 1 top 5 finish, but new season and a new outlook for the 14 of Kresik.
24.941. That first sector is not going to be where he wants to be. If he can pull it out in the final half of the lap. In this number 14 car across the stripe. Let's see what Okresik's got. And a 7.68 is going to drop him to 31st, and that'll be a disappointing lap.
I'm just kind of wondering why he didn't just kind of punch it out of the gate. I'm feeling like that might have cost him.
Yes.
Cost him on the run. You know, he's not terribly slower, but slower enough to put him down in 31st. Look at David Weiser, though, across the line for him in the number 33 machine.
Yeah, it's plastered in red and black. It's on his t-shirt as well. It's the Lowell Cardinals, as he likes to pronounce it. You can see the Fighting Cardinal there on the hood of the 33, and Weissart looking to build off from last season. Only 1 top 5, 5 top 10, 71 laps led. Had speed capable enough of winning, just couldn't quite get the job done in some certain circumstances, but always a new outlook here for the 33 of David Weissart.
So steady there. And look, see how tense his body is, just trying to keep that wheel as minimally turned as possible. Let's see, what does the 33 have for the field? 33 starters. It is a 49.7, and that'll put him inside the top 10. That's a good lap. 9th for David Weissart. He'll be happy with that, I'm sure.
Yeah, he should be satisfied with that as you head next to Ed Robertson. New colors for the Rick's Hot Sauce car, normally in green and black, now donning some red in the 64 cam.
Yeah, 2 top 10s last year for Ed. Again, part of Powerhouse Racing that came back from acquiring Jacob Bell Racing Charter. So the New Jersey native looking to build off his 2 top 10s and average finish of 20th. Very consistent driver. Typically doesn't get in a lot of harm and likes to navigate his way through that.
At the sector stripe, 24.899. So that's probably going to end you 16th to 22nd, somewhere in there.
Let's see if he can find something in the second half of this lap as he keeps it nice and tidy on the bottom, comes up a little bit off the corner in turn 4. And then now across the stripe he will go down below the yellow line and across the checker for the checkers.
Ooh, it's 179.508. Not bad. 49.721 drops him
23rd. And as the lap times continue to be put on the board, Braston Deweese and Jonathan Oates are just watching and hoping nothing changes, because they've gone up there and nothing's really changed up in the top for quite a few drivers as we're starting to get near the end of our list.
Yeah, and especially the front 2 being open cars, that's really huge for them, because that means they'd already be locked in, but it can change in just a matter of moments as Greg Mitchell, the Texas native, goes to put down a time.
I'm surprised by this. The weather is static. I am a little surprised that Deweese and Oates went to the top, but it does seem like it's very heavily weighted with drivers that went first. Now, there's no reason for that other than that's just the way the cookie has crumbled, but I do find that interesting, to say the least. And 24.867 for Greg Mitchell. This is going to be a pretty solid lap, I think. Top 10 if he can keep that momentum rolling. Let's see what the number 2 Ford can do. Greg Mitchell across the stripe. It is a 179.535, and that will put him 22nd. I'm actually a little surprised that it wasn't better than that. Gave it up in 3 and 4.
Yes, because I guess he lost out on the second half of the lap. Something there, unfortunately. It's going to be lower down the order than he would probably like. Tyler Nichols. What's going on? You're going to have to explain this, Hunter.
Here's the thing. If you don't watch pro wrestling, you're not going to understand it. But
well,
they made a social media post that kind of twinkles with that. Joe Hendry, a professional wrestler, he's gone viral over his entrance song that's actually #1 across certain iTunes charts. And his persona is carrying him to the top of the wrestling world. So it's kind of been plastered over the 41 of Tyler Nichols, who needs a little motivation after last season. Only 2 top 10s, average finish of 20th. But he believes in Joe Henry, and that's all that matters.
Well, looking good. Through 3 and 4 now, up onto the front straightaway. And Tyler Nichols at the sector line, 24.864. And across the stripe, what's he got for us? 179.544, 49.711, 21st quick.
Pretty much in the midfield for the 41 machine. Next on the board, it's going to be Evershear Jr. coming across the line in his 17 Ford Mustang for Lucky Duck Motorsports. And here he goes to start his run.
Yeah, Ed Shearer Jr. looking to build off a solid season. 2 top 5s, 7 top 10s, average finish of 16th. Not too bad of a season. The New York native looking to pick up the pieces and sort of lead the way for Lucky Duck Motorsports. Him and Douglas Dubigging have kind of been stable. They're somewhat similar, just one less top 10 for Douglas Dubigging. But looking to become the face of that team is the 17.
At the sector line, 24.911. Again, it is just interesting to note how much of the most recent entrants have kind of been middle to the back. See if Scherer can turn this the right direction with a fairly slow first half of the lap, at least in relation to those that ran a bit earlier in the evening. Scherer across the line, 179.472, and it's a 49.731, 28th.
Yeah, a little bit lower than what would be hoped for him. Ryan Hart's in the number 3, though, coming to the line. We're ready to get going here. And I think for Ryan Hartz, as he starts his run, I think the big thing for him, he's going to be hoping for a lot more. Last season, I just don't know. It just really didn't quite click for him.
Yeah, 4 top 5, 7 top 10, so fairly good on the cup side of things with an average finish of 14th, but no wins, and we're typically used to seeing him run up front for the wins, and didn't quite come through for the Pro Series as well. So obviously a new season with a whole new outlook for the New England native and a good solid first half there, Kyle.
Yeah, 24.881. He's in the 8s, but again, we've seen the 860s kind of land you in the low teens, so need a bit more than that. Let's see what he's got out of turn 4. Ryan Hart's looking to find and repeat some success he's had in seasons past with some momentum in the area 500. Ryan Hart's across the line, and 179.442, and it's only a 723, puts him 26th.
Next coming to the line, Ricky Springer, looking to continue onwards. And for Ricky Springer, another driver you can kind of throw in their teammates with the number 3, also in the camp of just didn't quite have the performance we would have expected out of his camp. Only 1 top 5 and 5 top 10s, no wins for Springer after he had a fantastic season 4. Ended up missing out on the playoffs.
Caught the apron there, Hunter, just a bit in the middle of turn 1.
Yeah, a bit of a tricky one there for the 51 of Springer. He parted ways from Powerhouse Racing and formed his own team after acquiring charters from Miller Racing after they folded. But like I mentioned, a couple of his teammates have already gone out. Lewis Foster, Matthew Morton, and Jake Matheson. So Matheson never went anywhere. He just simply stayed with the team and rebranded himself under Slinger Racing Graphics Esports. And I think this one's going to be a pretty solid lap time, but overall as a team, I think they're going to be ones to watch for the season.
And it's a 49.732. It's going to put him 31st. Not a lot of reaction. Not well. Okay.
Yeah, for a lot of these guys, for the majority of the drivers at this point have charters, so for them it's not make or break as far as into the duel. A lot more pressures on the open cars. And speaking of which, drivers and teammate Douglas Newbigging, another driver for Lucky Duck Motorsports. And Hunter, you mentioned it before with Edward Shearer Jr. With the departure of James Skiley from that team, it's really between Newbigging and Shearer Jr. really who's going to be the new leader of that organization.
Yeah, like I said, very similar stats to Ed Shearer Jr. Average finish of 16th, 2 top 5s, only 1 less top 10, that being 6 top 10s, but he did lead 46 laps, so he did show speed last year, and that's a pretty good, solid first sector there, Kyle, from the Ocean Cleanup 71.
861. I don't know we've seen a whole lot faster than that on the first part here. The entire field is within 85 thousandths of a second right now, so it's little bits and pieces that will put you on pole. Needs to beat a 49.688, and what will it be for Newbigging? 8th. That's a good lap. We haven't seen one that good in some time.
Yeah, 8th, missed it by 10 thousandths of a second.
Wow.
It's very close. Everyone's pretty much separated from one another at this point by about 1,000th of a second or so.
There he is, the number 30 of Jeremy Miller, the 609 Motorsports driver. He had a top 5 in this race a season ago. One of the 3 top 5s he had on the season, 4 top 10s, 39 laps led. Very solid season from the season before that, but average finish of 17th is going to be knocking on the door for that first win here sometime this season as he comes through the first sector.
24.896. That's kind of middle of the road for Jeremy Miller in this number 30. How many times have we gone to a plate track and this guy is always in the mix, Finney? It doesn't seem to matter what league, what car, what situation. He's been unlucky more times than he's been lucky, but he's also pretty good. And some days you'd rather be lucky than good, but Jeremy Miller here has been both at times. Let's see what his time will get him. It's 179.516, and it's going to be good enough for a 719. Nope, 702, 15th.
15 near the top part of the order for the number 30. Of course, being a plate goat, I think he self-described plate goat. I think he would have hoped to have been a little bit closer near the top of the order. Next on the list is Blaze McKinney in the number 87. No, Matthew Bell.
Yeah, McKinney missed his slot, so Matthew Bell's up next.
Yeah, kind of a similar paint scheme there to that of Rafe Slate from a season ago. A little rebranding there for Matthew Bell. Used to him running the 9, but now he's running the 8. And as far as last season goes,
that's spec map.
Zero top 10. Well, I shouldn't say that. 0 top 5s. He had 8 top 10s a season ago. Average finish of 12th. So consistency goes a long way towards the playoffs. Still going to be knocking on that door for winning, though.
Yeah, this is going to be confusing for us. We've really knocked in our brains that Rafe Slate drives a red number 8. I mean, it's like Dale Earnhardt going to Hendrick. It's going to take a while to get used to, but Matthew Bell, here he comes across the stripe, and 179.555, 49.708. That's going to drop him, well, 22nd quick.
Yeah, pretty much smack dab in the middle of the field. And next on our list should be the number 7 of James Kiley.
And here he comes, across the stripe, and pink colors on this car. Solar Flare Racing. And one of the great things I get to do in the real world is announce the Toyota GR Cup Series. And when Gresham Wagner announced his joining of Copeland Motorsports, the entire field collectively sighed because they knew how much they were going to get destroyed. And I think a similar thing could be said about some drivers seeing Skyley team up with Solar Flare Racing, Hunter.
Yeah, he's been building up this team from one Jake Nichols has from multiple seasons ago. Like I mentioned, the season prior to this, they acquired Seth Knoll from Miller Racing, and now this past offseason, they have acquired James Skyley from Lucky Ducks Motorsports. 2 wins, 8 top 5s, 10 top 10s, and 249 laps led. So very good driver coming to the Solar Flare Racing stable.
And it's a 547 and a 49. Ooh, that's 3rd quick.
Oh, wow. He just missed out on the top 2 by 1,000th, but up there, one of the highest drivers you've seen recently. After it's been pretty stable up there in that top 5, is the first driver to kind of shake things up there. Next, we got another big transfer in the offseason, Travis Beckner in the 28. Same car number, but with a different team, leaving Miller Racing, now currently with Solid Rock Performance with Matthew Bell, Ryan Hartz, and Connor Okrezik.
Yeah, and it's a new 28 car as well. Got Hendry County Motorsports Park there all over the hood. And then I believe he's in his race uniform as well, the flagman for that racetrack. And they're going to be a new sponsor with us all season long. So make sure you head out to the racetrack September 7th. That's when racing returns. I didn't know that they took the summer off because of how hot it is. But then again, it's in Florida. They don't call it the southernmost dirt track in America for nothing. So September 7th, racing returns. And be on the lookout for Travis Beckner. He'll be the one waving the flags up there.
Here we go. Travis Beckner across the stripe in the number 28. Let's see where it lands him here. And,
oh, wow.
I don't know that that's going to stick. It's 49.698. It's going to be 9th. I picked him up a bit late there, so it thought he was a little quicker than he was, but still not bad.
That 180 was deceiving.
Yeah. I got to pick him up before the start-finish line. Otherwise, it thinks that their lap's a little shorter. So Seth Knoll in the number 1. Here he is. Another driver in the Solar Flare Racing camp. And boy, man, did this driver come out of nowhere a couple seasons ago, Finian, and since then he's been a threat.
Yeah, big pickup for Solar Flare Racing last season. Definitely earned his spot at the team last season. Performed very well with 1 win to his name, and we'll see if he can execute again. That team definitely, if you haven't had Solar Flare Racing marked for this season, mark them. If you already have them mark them again, because they're going to be probably one of the biggest teams heading into this season.
Yeah, 1 win, 10 top 5s, 13 top 10s, 178 laps led, and combining all 4 drivers from a season ago, 904 laps led by just the Solar Flare Racing group alone.
Seth Knoll across the stripe, and if that time sticks, 49.687 to the top of the board goes the number 1 Toyota.
There he goes, earning the number 1 on his door, puts the number 1 car up in P1. As we look at Jake Matheson in now the number 54, if I'm mistaken, was running the 56 last season.
He indeed was 56, but now 54. Turned it down a couple of notches, but he is not doing that for this season. 6 wins a season to go, 12 top 5s, 13 top 10s. Just 1 lap shy from leading 600 laps, so 599 laps led, average finish of 9th. He is the driver from Miller Racing from a season ago, still with the current team, just rebranded under Slinger Racing Graphics Esports, but a nice pickup for this team.
Have a look at those intervals on the left-hand side of your screen. How good do you need to be at Daytona? Well, I mean, the gap between Scioli and Morton is bigger than the next, 7 cars combined. It's unbelievable. There's a number of times that match the cars around them. That is unbelievable. Jake Matheson, what does he have? 179.594, a 49.697, and that's good enough for 8th.
Yeah, of course, Matheson hoping to do a little bit better than last season, although I say that he did very well that season, but unfortunately couldn't take home the championship, though. He got 6 wins to his name. Connor Horn, another driver competing for the championship, wasn't quite able to take it home, wasn't quite able to chase down Michael Curran, but it was a great season for Connor Horn. And then number 42 machine looking to continue on where he left off, basically.
Yeah, 3 wins, 5 top 5s, 9 top 10s. Needed to perform at the right time when it mattered. Was unfortunately caught up in that wreck at Chicagoland that kind of derailed his championship hopes, but looking to rebound after a season of solid, consistent racing on the top of that 609 Motorsports team.
Well, across the sector line, 24.858. Hey, that's not bad, is it?
Not bad at all. Just a matter of whether or not he can execute it across the line. In this final second part of the track, he will go to the stripe. It's going to be enough to get near the top. Waiting to see where he positions, and only 30th.
That was
I was going to say he had a weird exit off turn 4.
Yeah, didn't do him any favors, did it? He was trending very, very well and lost it all the second half of the lap. All right, Jake Nichols, the juggernaut of the Area Cup Series, returns again in the 73 Solar Flare Camry. And Hunter, the story behind Jake Nichols, how many wins, how many championships, he has just ticked him off like hash marks on a prison wall cell, just knocking him down and crossing him out day by day by day. And onto the back straightaway, the champion returns.
Yeah, although looking at last season, it was actually a bit of a downgrade. I know we kind of joked about that all throughout last season, but he only had 1 win last year. That is Jake Nichols-like. 11 top 5s, 13 top 10s. The speed's still there, but the wins just weren't piling up.
Yeah, what he didn't have in the wins column, he made up for it in every other column. He was extremely consistent, finishing up near the top of the standings. Didn't get the championship win, got second place, but I think he's looking to see if he can regain that championship thrown across the line for him. Can he get up on pole, though? No, 25th. Oof. That's very uncharacteristic.
So the last driver on our list is Michael Curhan. Now there's a few that have not qualified yet that had a slot earlier. We'll see if they get to run, but Michael Curhan will begin his lap.
None of the drivers left are in the server,
All right.
so I think Curran should be the last driver out here for qualifying.
50th and final one, Hunter.
Yeah, nerve-wracking for not only Seth Knoll, but Braxton DeWeese as well. The open driver, if Michael Curran qualifies third or worse, then DeWeese is into the area 500 locked in, and Seth Knoll would be locked into the pole. But Season 5 Cup Series champion, he knows how to place his car in the right opportunity, in the right time. One win, and that came at Kansas in an unbelievable photo finish with Jake Nichols, and propelled himself into a champion from last season.
Well, let's see what Michael Curhan's got at the sector stripe, 24,864. Pretty good sector 1. Is it going to translate to anything inside the top 10, though? Those up at the front, most of them qualified early on, a 179.631. That's pretty solid, and it's solid enough for only 21st once it corrects. Wow, all right.
And Braxton Ruiz is going to be a happy man because he's going to be on through to the area 500 regardless.
Wow. Well, here's a look at your qualifying results here from Daytona. That is tight.
That is crazy. 10 thousandths of a second separating the top 10. And look how many of them tied for 10 thousandths of a second behind. Matheson, Jump, and Brad Slaughter all near identical times in qualifying.
Yeah, that's a bit absurd. Just the margin for error is very slim here at Daytona, especially when you're looking at these, like even 11 through 20th. The difference between all 10 of those drivers are 4 1,000ths of a second. Very slim margin for error here, Kyle, as we're looking through at some of the names that are locked in, but another look at the names that are going to have to race their way into the area 500.
Well, the duels are about to be very exciting. Don't go anywhere. They're coming right up here momentarily. 2 30-lap duels that will set our grid for the 6th area 500 next week, but it is just amazing how tight some of the times are. They fall off a bit here towards the end, but we had 50 qualifiers and a handful that didn't even make an attempted run. So the 4 that did not include, actually the 3 that did not, rather, Adam Cabot, Blaze McKinney, and Peyton Howell. They will not make a start here. But again, here's a look at your top 10. Seth Knoll, Braxton DeWeese locked in, but everyone else that's not on a chartered group, they are going to be very interested in having a good run here in the duels upcoming and momentarily, Finian.
Yeah, got the coming up in just a bit. And look at the mix of manufacturers up near the top of the standings that they're finding pretty interesting. We've normally seen a lot of Chevys usually in this series, but it seems like a lot more manufacturers have joined the grid. A couple more Fords, a couple more Toyotas, and only just 2 Chevys, in that top 10. Of course, not that it really matters a whole lot at the end of the day. Just a really interesting note there. And of course, Seth Knoll will be starting on the pole for the Area 500 next week.
Indeed, his best starting position prior to that was 5th, and oddly enough, that was the year he won, or season that he won, I should say, the Area 500, in that controversial caution on the last restart.
So there's a look again at your top 10 qualifying results there. Seth Knoll is on pole. Braxton DeWeese is also locked into the Area 500. We've got a couple minutes here to break before we grid up for about 2 minutes, and then we'll head to the first of our duels here tonight. Of course, we've got some new partners with us. We'll talk more about them later this evening, but Central Mobile Homes has joined us as our starting grid sponsor. Hendry County Motorsports Park, that Hunter alluded to earlier. Elite Entertainment, High Banks Podcast, of course, the return of rickshotsauce.com, and then shop.area iRacing.com. We'll talk about all of those partners throughout the evening here once our duels begin in just a couple minutes. But, Finian, qualifying for Daytona, how important is it? Because we're about to see about 25 drivers in each duel going for a limited number of spots. How critical is it to getting in is one thing, but all the drivers that are locked in already, does it matter?
I think it depends on the strategy you want to have for the race. If your team, you want them up near the top of the order, we want to be fighting up there, keeping yourself in the quote-unquote safe zone near the front of the order, then you're going to want to do that. Keep yourself near the front. However, for teams that are more conservative, they want to be laying up more towards the back for the majority of the race. For them, not as much of an issue. But then, of course, you got to consider in the huge amount of open drivers we have this season in both of these races, because they're going to be fighting pretty hard. They have to, because if they don't make it on through, they're not in the show. So for them, there's a lot on the line for those drivers.
Yeah, it's 30 laps for both duels, but a lot of emotions can change throughout the course of those 30 laps for not only one, but two dual races as we go through, and we'll be keeping an eye on who's in and who's out of the Area 500.
Well, cars are on the grid here and getting rolling in just a moment's time. I got to give the graphics a good old reboot here. I think the with all the number of cars that have loaded, I didn't actually get any to select on my timing screen, which will be problematic here in a moment. So before everyone rolls off, we'll give those a good old restart. But guys, this is a 30-lap race. This is shorter. I mean, it's not that much shorter, but it's shorter than our race was last week with our preseason shootout. But the intensity level is still going to be there to get to the front if you're not locked in, Finian. So how aggressive are you in the opening stages of this one?
It just really depends on what you're racing for. If you're just racing for a decent qualifying spot, you're probably going to be hanging out more towards the back, because you're just kind of in it for just to see how things go, see how well you can start in the 500. But for those who are on that borderline, those who need to race their way in, you may see a couple of them try to race to the front, keep themselves in the front, ideally where it's quote-unquote safe. You don't want to be in the middle. You want to be near the very front of the pack or near the back. Issue with being towards the back, we've seen a lot of times you get that backpack that separates, and then they never quite get back to the front, especially in such a short race like that's only 30 laps.
So with the field getting ready to grid here in just a moment's time, they'll get one lap around this 2.5-mile speedway before we turn them loose for 30. This will take about 25 minutes to complete, assuming no yellows. And Hunter, staying out of trouble is always a big deal here at Daytona, but of the drivers in this field, we've got Seth Knoll up there on the pole, but there's a lot of new drivers in this field as well, including Jonathan Oates, who had a very strong qualifying effort.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting to note with the rookies in the field. There are a lot of them, and like you mentioned, Jonathan Oates, a 609 reserve driver, going to take a little bit getting used to just being accustomed to the racing in area. We typically see that within the first few weeks of the season, just because there's a lot of new names and got to get used to racing around everyone, and typically caution count's going to be high, but especially at Daytona should make things a little bit easier. But then again, you are racing in packs at 190 mile an hour, going 2 wide, 3 wide, sometimes even 4 wide, and margin for error very slim to none. So this is a tricky track to navigate through for your first area start.
Now note at the bottom of the order, Blaze McKinney and Adam Cabot are not starting this race because they did not make a qualifying effort. They will drop off the timing screen once we go green. So we'll try to keep you updated on all the different scenarios here, but the easiest scenario is to go up there and win that duel. So that might be what some of these open drivers are planning to do. Remove all doubt, just go up there and win the thing. Finian?
Yeah, it's so easy. Why doesn't everyone just do that, right? You got 24 other drivers that have the exact same thing in mind. That's the issue.
Look at our weather. Going to be remaining our static weather here, so we won't be fighting any wind or anything of the sort along the way. But 30 laps here at Daytona. And Seth Knoll, Jonathan Oates are sharing your front row. It is Toyota, Ford, Toyota, Chevrolet, your front 2 rows. The Area Cup Series Area 500 is next week. But tonight we set the running order. We've done half of it. The other half is to race it out to set the grid. Here we go. Seth Knoll is your pole sitter for the Area 500. He is safe, but he's still going to race for a win. Green flag, and we're racing, and we're dueling at Daytona. Lap 1 complete already, and Seth Knoll leads the way. Matthew Morton has dropped into second place, and they're 3 wide in the mid-pack here, Finian.
Yeah, 3 wide back. They're still trying to kind of sort out who they want, who wants to go near the front, who wants to drop near the back. It looks like the 65 of Ben Pierce, he's decided to go to the back. He wants nothing to do with anything near the front. That Mountain Dew car going backwards. But a couple of open guys near the front, Matthew Morton, Nathan Jump, both of them, they're trying to make sure they make it in. They're trying to finish off strong.
Going down the backstretch now, you see a lot of cars starting to navigate their way towards the front, moving towards the bottom, the middle. Brett Puncari on board with him here, just holding that bottom. Looking on the outside of Ryan Swan and the number 20 HyperX machine as they roll off turn 4.
In that VR, I see him look down, just take a look at his gauges. Big check up there on the bottom. The outside rockets through. And one of those drivers is Ricky Springer, who's jumped to the outside lane. He started 21st. He's up to 12th here in the first 3 laps of this one, on a mission.
On a mission to get that car near the front, trying to see if he can make it even better. He's stuck in the outside lane at the moment. They've kind of somewhat stalled out their progress. Top lane being led by the number 13 of Jua in the outside. Then it's the 45 to Jonathan Oates. A couple new guys leading the charge in the outside lane.
Getting a little bump there from the 51 of Ricky Springer. There is Swan in the 20 again. A master at these play races in previous series, in the Pro Series and the Truck Series, has yet to do so in the Cup Series, but still single file throughout the first 4 cars as the 13 of Jua leads that outside lane. And then towards the back we see a group of cars just kind of a second or two away from the action.
Yeah, Emerson Arden leading that pack. He got a big shove from Andrew Payne. They almost went around for a loop, and they're still almost banging fenders back there as they try to get everything sorted. This front pack, though, is getting racy. Here comes Drew Jua on the outside with a big push, and it had a seam from Jonathan Oates. They haven't quite pulled even with Nathan Jump in the 29 just yet, but there is volatility up there in the outside group.
Yeah, they're trying to make some forward progress, but they kind of stalled out around that 3rd, 4th car on the inside lane. Just not getting enough momentum going, and I think everyone's trying to get a little bit antsy because they want to go forward, but unfortunately aerodynamics are saying no, we shall not go forward.
Well, the 29 of Nathan Jump just jumped to the outside lane now as the 1 of Noel did just that. Going to get a little bump from the... Oh, and it looks like a wreck with the 20 of Ryan Swan. Looks like he's the only car involved.
He might have gotten away with it. I don't see a lot of damage to that car, but it will slow the progress here. Lap 5 of 30. And the first caution of our Area Cup Series Daytona Duels. Let's go back and have a look at what had happened here to Ryan Swan. Started on the back straightaway and
started on the front through.
So let's see. So he's following the 30 here of Jeremy Miller. And then Ricky Springer's right behind him, and I wonder if...
Yeah, and watch here. See, I think someone went in the front lane up on top near the front. Then there's a stack that happens right there in the triangle, and unfortunately the accordion dealt him the bad hand, and around he went.
Who missed him there? Well, that was one of the Solar Flare cars.
That's the reserve driver. That's Philip Gronder.
What a job he did missing all that. Watch this.
Yeah, I was going to say, great job that he did miss that, because otherwise he would have been out. Whoa. In fact, really, everyone did a great job avoiding that wreck. Really, Swan, though, taking the brunt end of that. The worry I have for Swan, he did take some decent left front damage to his car, getting hit right in the left front wheel.
Seth Noel. I think that was from the 2 of Greg Mitchell that got into the 20.
Seth Noel leads the way, but here's what Greg Mitchell had. See that checkup start there, and not a lot of damage. I don't think it'll be a huge deal for him. These cars are pretty robust, as we've seen in the past. But if we go back and try to find... So really, it's Noel in the outside that begins the checkup when he jumped up there, and it just propagates all the way through the field. Swan got very lucky.
Hey, what, Travis Beckner got lucky, too. He was the car just in front of Greg Mitchell. Swan had a little nibble at his right rear, but he had great car control from Beckner, because if he couldn't hold on to that, he would have been spinning around in front of the rest of the field. Could have created a big crash.
First caution of the evening here. Of course, our new starting grid sponsor for this evening and for the rest of the season is Central Mobile Homes. You're looking for a small or large home, a new shed, or a triple crown trailer? Look no farther than Central Mobile Homes. They've been proudly serving Florida customers for 28 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plans, shed designs, and triple crown trailers. Available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to centralmobilehomesinc.com to get started today. Had our first replay as well. Our new replay sponsor, not quite set up there in the graphics just yet, but it's Hendry County Motorsports Park. We've heard about them earlier this evening. Sponsor on Travis Beckner's car. Racing returns to the Hendry County Motorsports Park on September 7th, including 360 Top Gun wing splits, Crusoe late models, factory stocks, and more. Tickets are $15 for adults with discounted prices for seniors, teens, and kids ages 5 and under are free. Come see racing at the southernmost dirt track in America, located in Clewiston, Florida, off U.S. Highway 27. Visit henryracing.com for more information. Bear with me as I learn all my new ad rolls.
I know, right? That's when you think you got them all down pat by the end of the season. Get new ad rolls for the next season.
So, and there are more of them, so which is always a good thing. Just got to get them
Made
down.
to keep you on your toes.
Well, you know. And chapter 2, you know. Well, we'll be doubling back up here, assuming we're getting back to a restart here pretty shortly. And the aggression level was fairly high in the middle. The front drivers seemed like they were riding pretty well until I saw Noel jump to that outside lane. He started getting defensive. Now, Finney, there's not really a reason for Seth Noel to need to win this race, but this is a feather in your cap if you can do it.
He might as well, right? If he quite literally has nothing to lose in this race. So at that point, might as well fight near the front. Show that you deserve to. I think for him, what he could try to do, because he's the only one eligible at this point, is try to go for the sweep. Although he didn't win the preseason shootout, but try to sweep the duels as well as getting the 500.
I guess the thing to consider would be that in the real world, if you crash your car in the duels, then you go to a backup, you go to the back of the field. But without that being a risk, there is zero reason to just drop out of this and kind of ride around at the back. You should race this, I suppose, right?
Foot to the floor and hope it sticks.
I'll lift until you see God or the checkered flag.
I was going to pull that quote out, but you beat me to it.
And actually, gentlemen, one thing I want to point out before we go back green, there are actually a lot. So the way that the duels are working, so it depends on your finishing position. So say we had three spots. You finish 1, 2, 3 in Duel 1, and the next open drivers in the next duel finish 4, 5, and 6. The drivers in Duel 2 will be eliminated. And so it's your highest finishing position. If there happens to be a tie, the tiebreaker is your queue time. And the interesting thing is that 10 open drivers are in this duel. So there's not going to be as many drivers in the next duel. So at least 4 drivers we know are going to be going home from this duel alone.
I think, well, I'm just looking through here. It's the highest finishing open cars throughout the two duels combined. So
yes,
all 10 of these open cars can finish 1 through 10. But if there are any open cars that finish within those, so 6 open. Words are tough nowadays.
Yeah,
words are tough nowadays.
Debate.
Oh God!
Does anybody know the answer?
Started with that.
Talk about golf for the next 2 hours.
Yeah, I guess so. Gosh, what a terrible sport to watch. Anyway, pace cars off. I just made everybody mad. There's a lot of Floridians in this field too. So here we go. Green flag back in the air in the Daytona Duels for the Area Cup Series. Seth Noel leads them to green. Even start there. Matthew Morton in the 18 on the outside lane, getting a shot from the 22 at Dom DeLeo, and they're dead even here. Big push from the outside lane out of turn 2.
And Matthew Morton leading the field, open driver trying to lock his way in, trying to see if he can win this thing, so he can definitely lock his way in to the order. But drivers leading out on the bottom. It was the Physicus guys trying to do a top-to-bottom maneuver. One car got through, one car got sucker rolled.
That's the 24, Michael Kearney, trying to get slid in on the bottom there with Nathan Jump, but that wasn't meant to be, as Seth Knoll was still there, so he's the car that's in the sucker hole now, but finally down towards the bottom. Up towards the front, though, Jua in the 13 jumped up to lead the outside, and the 1 of Knoll jumps up again to lead the outside and take over as the race leader.
Yeah, Knoll's being very aggressive right now, and that 13 is going to follow him through. Matthew Morton is now third in line. He's got the 5 of Garrett Grant right behind him, and the 22 on the bottom, not having the momentum he needs to move forward. And Jua's got a very strong run this evening. That 13 car has been up here and on it. Started 7th, running 2nd right now down the Daytona super stretch.
Yeah, a massive push on the backstretch. He was struggling in that first run to really get a momentum going forward as the leading car, but as a pusher, really strong, completely pushed the one out to the front, though. He's got to be careful because that engine's going to start getting hot. He needs to get some clean air at some point.
Now looking at the bumper of Jua in the 13, Garrett Grant in the 5 you just saw there, made the move to the inside to lead the bottom lane now. With the Leo pushing in close pursuit, but Jua pushing the 1 of Knoll to the front.
Yeah, looking really good, but now he lifted off center of the corner, and it's the short way around for the bottom drivers, Phineas.
Yeah, he had to let off, and look at how much speed they lost on the back straightaway now as the number 5, Garrett Grant, able to take the lead. He inherited the lead of that bottom lane. Then it's Dom DeLeo in the 29 and jump on the bottom.
Dead even into 3 as Knoll holding that outside. Meanwhile, the 22 of DeLeo still trying to hold the bottom lane and keep it moving for Garrett Grant. Meanwhile, his teammate, Greg Mitchell, is back in the sucker hole. Right around that. What position is that? That's outside the top 20. It's towards the end of that back.
Yeah, 21st place right now. They're battling for. They were 3 abreast back there, kind of all by themselves. Knoll drops to the bottom, right ahead of Garrett Grant. Big aggressive moves to try to control the field. And the Angry Hornets align nose to tail in the bottom of the racetrack.
Trying to push hard, trying to push strong to the front. That bottom lane's got it hooked up, and it's actually a very similar situation we saw in the first run. That outside lane is not quite able to get there with the 13 leading. And the number 18, Matthew Morton, trying to push that 13 to the front.
A couple of rookies there on that outside lane, Morton and Jua, so starting to get a little bit of chemistry going. As the 1 gets moved to the outside, Grant to the inside, he'll lead that lap with 18 laps remaining.
And every time that 1 jumps to the outside of the tri-oval, it checks everybody up. And the tri-oval, I think that kink on the front straightaway is the hardest corner on this racetrack, and it doesn't even count as one. The track narrows up, the banking climbs, but it doesn't climb high enough to really settle into like the corners. You see a lot of crashes in the tri-oval here at Daytona. Big move, 18 to the bottom. He's going to take Beckner with him.
Get tired of being out in front of the 13, or no, actually 13 going to slot himself in front of the 18, whether he likes it or not, and now they will go to leave Seth Knoll to dry. And a charge on the bottom with Beckner in behind in 3rd, and he's going to immediately try to go to the top here, and here comes the 18 with the block.
A lot of 3-wide racing behind the front 4 as you saw Beckner there move up to the outside with Matthew Morton, and it's still going to be Jua leading at the line on the bottom 3-wide there with one of the Springer cars in the middle. I believe that is Ricky Springer himself.
Well, Cameron Hearn jumps up to the outside of Travis Beckner, and Michael Curhan is back for more. He's going to jump up there with him. Fellow Ford driver heading down the back straightaway, right up to the outside wall. He's almost making contact with it. Hearn goes to the center, and Curhan follows him through past the 18.
Yeah, I don't think they wanted to stick with the 28. The 28 of Beckner threw a huge block on Hearn and said, you know what, I'm going to leave you and go to the front myself. So off he goes with his teammate in the 24 pushing. 3-wide stack up near the back as everyone's gotten shuffled out of line, including Morton and Beckner being sent to the back.
So that was actually the 1 of Seth Knoll that was dropping to the rear, not Ricky Springer, but Matthew Morton was up there just a lap ago fighting for the lead, and then he got left on the outside lane. A little bit of disconnect throughout the pack. This is almost 2 packs starting to form, but up front it's Jua, Grant, and DeLeo, the top 3.
On the bottom of the racetrack, Jua leads the way in this 13. He's been very aggressive, and now he's got the top spot. He's going to chase Garrett Grant over to the center of the racetrack. DeLeo on the bottom, and it's a couple of Fords in that second row. Hearn goes to the center of the 22s below the yellow line.
Disconnect between the 29 and the 22 almost sent the 22 DeLeo around. That's going to cause a big stack up in the midfield.
Comes the gold 11 of Philip Groner up towards the top 5, the reserve driver for Solar Flare Racing, kind of on the beneficiary of that as Hearn goes to the lead. Going to lead at the line as we're halfway through the first duel. almost 3 wide now. They're looking going into turn 1, and the door being shut by Garrett Grant.
Man, that 55 car of Adam Capps is in the middle with nowhere to go. He's going to fall back to Nathan Jump. There is so much volatility. It's like a tornado right now. There's just wind blowing every which direction and just debris in the former race cars flailing around the Daytona Superstretch with 15 laps to go.
And a majority of the aggression is coming out of the open drivers, because again, they need to make sure they make it into the show, so they're trying to get themselves to the front as much as possible. And again, whether or not they realize that there's so many open drivers in this particular race, if they don't finish well, they're definitely not going to make it on through.
Philip Groner and Reese Schaefer are the highest of the open cars, running 4th and 5th on the racetrack. Then you got the Leo there in 6th. Then just a couple laps ago, that one of Seth Knoll was at the tail end of that pack. He's now leading the outside lane in a charge to the top 5.
A little bit of a stack up here on the outside, though. They're having trouble getting paired back together. And a little bit of a rocky reconnection there. As Seth Knoll and Garrett Grant, their momentum is halted, and the bottom line drives on through. All the way back to DeLeo in 6th. They've got nobody outside of them.
Yeah, they're just trying to get something away in that outside lane. It's just not working. Garrett Grant not working, and he's actually going to fall out of line, saying, all right, Morton, you go have a shot at Seth. No, I can't really do much.
Yeah, Noel, Morton, and Travis Beckner, they're trying to regroup on the outside and lead them to the promised land. And
45 of Jonathan Oates just jumped up there in front of the 1.
Just trying to capture any momentum they can. It's like stopping a space shuttle with a tennis racket. It's just going to blow right through it.
And for Jonathan Oates, so close to making it in by being locked in, just got squeezed out. Ended up qualifying in 3rd. It's not going to lock you into the show, so he's got to race his way in, and now he's in behind Jeremy Miller in the number 30.
4 cars jumping up to that outside line, as you saw the 30 of Miller jump up there, but the 4 of Hearn still leading the way. He started all the way back in 19th, worked his way towards the front, got Jua pushing him from behind. Teammate Michael Curran and Philip Bronner still leading that inside lane. Meanwhile, it's a drag race for 5th, heading into turn 1.
And that second group is 3 seconds back. If they want to get in this mix, they're going to have to start moving. But I think it's almost too late at this point, Finian, and now they're just going to hope that this front field wrecks and we get a restart.
Yeah, and quite a few open drivers in that pack. Brent Punkari, Robert Colgan, Ben Pierce. They're all nervously kind of hoping that a caution comes out because they got completely disconnected, like you said.
Reese Schaefer now has jumped to the outside lane, leading that group, and going to have a nice run here coming off turn 4 with Jeremy Miller pushing. Might be enough to go and take the lead. Not going to be this lap, but it's up side by side with the 24 of Curran for 3rd, as Hearn still leads the way in the turn 1.
Oh, big move there from Drew Jua in the 13, trying to go to the outside lane, and he's going to do it right ahead of Reese Schaefer. And that was a very opportunistic move, and it's going to put the 13 at the point here of that outside lane.
Yeah, again, open cars taking point here and charging to the front. 1397 hooked up together. Jeremy Miller getting the slipstream from them as well. Jonathan Oates trying to see if he can clear that outside lane. He thought about diving low in front of the 4. Cameron Herman couldn't quite. Big block from the 45 on the 1 of Seth Knoll, though.
Yeah, they were even checking up just in front of them with Jua and Schaefer, just trying to make ends meet. And
another block.
Seth Knoll, yeah, you see that right there. Seth Knoll in the middle of that 3-wide situation. The 45 of Oates with a big block, but now that outside lane's a little bit disconnected as they're heading into turn 1.
The 4 jump up to meet that outside groove, and the 24 is going to do it as well. Big checkups on the bottom between the 11 and the 22, and everyone's disorganized now. Big runs coming here when they get disorganized. The 4 drops to the bottom to take advantage, but he's got no help.
Oh, and the 45's got a big run, but nowhere to quite go at the moment. Cameron Hearn's going to fall back on that inside lane. Miller going to dive to the middle to get around the 4. That inside lane got completely destroyed.
And now Philip Bronner's in the middle of that as the outside lane is pulling through. Still a little bit of disconnect throughout the rest of the field. Ryan Swan in the 20 has made his way inside the top 10. He was our only caution of this duel so far. Now at the stripe, 9 to go, being led by Jua.
Might have been our only one so far, but I have a hard time believing it's going to be the last with the aggression level as high as it's been so far. Now the outside lane prevails. The 45, Jonathan Oates takes the elevator all the way to the ground floor and drops in front of the 30 of Miller.
Oh, that was an aggressive move. He's been making some. He doesn't care who he's racing with. He doesn't care if these guys have been champions in the series or dominating the series. He's cut off the 1. He's cut off the 30. He wants to make sure he gets on through.
He was one spot shy of locking himself into the area 500, but got bounced in qualifying. Now trying to secure a spot with a win in this duel. Earned to the outside with DeLeo behind, but not enough of a run to generate on the two leaders up there as they're coming across the stripe with 8 laps to go.
Yeah, the aggression seems to be paying off for the 45 and for the 13, but look at, no one is willing to stay in line. The 4 immediately ditches his drafting partner and drops to the bottom again.
Yeah, everyone's been leaving themselves out there drying in the front. A lot of the teammates are kind of discombobulated, except for Fizikis. They're looking somewhat oriented at the moment, at least with DeLeo and Curran nose to tail, but they're, and as well as you can throw in Cameron Hearn, so they're dominating that bottom line, but not as much as they would like compared to the outside line. Oath and Miller working well together. Whoa! There goes the 45 into the sucker hole.
Oh, big slide up the racetrack to 30 of Miller, and the 45 in the center, as you pointed out, Finian, he's going to drop like a stone in a pond.
And that's exactly what he did not need, Hunter.
Not at all as they come across the stripe with 7 laps remaining. Philip Gronder now going to try and lead outside with not 609 spot. Solar Flare teammate Seth Knoll heading into turn 1. Meanwhile, the Fizikis duo of Hearn and DeLeo lead the way.
And on that outside groove, the 28 of Travis Beckner lining up with the 18. Matthew Morton, could he get a big shove down the backstretch? Big blocks there from the 30 of Miller. And lots of sideways movement there as cars try to get aligned and go in the right direction. Seth Knoll does not, though.
He's been trying to make these charges to the front, but then he comes up, gets dropped back, comes up, gets dropped back again. And he's actually going to be reunited with his reserves teammate, the number 11 of Philip Groner.
30 is
Miller now.
Gosh, he's just been left, right, slicing and dicing, Hunter.
Trying to jump to the outside, but doesn't have enough momentum up there to get a run, so he's going to stay single file on this bottom line with 6 to go as they're rolling through turn 2 and onto the backstretch. Hearn still leading the way.
He's got the 22. Maybe that's friendly behind him. A couple of Fords lined up. Michael Curran as well. See the check up there and a big shot to the rear bumper.
Huge shot to them, 3 wide in the middle of the pack. The number 13 of Jewix trying to figure out where to go. Nowhere for him to go. There's a 78 of Payne leading that outside lane, trying to get something going near the front. Can't quite get there though.
They have the right idea, though, because the bottom 3 on that inside lane are all Fizikis related. So going to be interesting trying to navigate their way around that with the 17 of Ed Shearer Jr. and the 30 of Jeremy Miller. The purple and black cars 1-2 at the moment.
And they push each other all the way to the pointy end. And Shearer Jr. takes the lead. Miller swings to the outside, goes to block the 70 of Andrew Payne.
Whoa! Here comes the 18. He's going to swerve out to the right, make a move, and there goes the 70 left in the sucker hole as Miller went up to block Beckner and Springer joining.
Miller goes down the block in turn 3. Matthew Moore and Travis Beckner now leading the outside lane. Ed Shearer Jr. giving a big push to the 30, coming out turn 4. When they cross the stripe, it'll be 4 laps remaining here from Daytona.
Running out of time. Are you in or are you out? Qualifying for the 6th Area 500 has been fierce tonight. Thousandths of a second in open qualifying, or single car qualifying rather, and then you get this opportunity to race your way in. It's like someone tossed a grenade into the room. It's just chaos right now. Down the back straightaway here, Miller, Scherer, Hearn lead on the bottom. And the 18's just trying everything to keep the 1 and 28 behind them.
Yeah, and again, really, these drivers are racing so hard, the open drivers, because even if they finish well here, you have to finish well enough to the point where the open drivers in Duel 2 can't pass you. Finishing high on the track as the 4 makes an elevator move top to bottom around Miller, and he's going to get flanked by Fizikis around the top and the bottom.
Fizikis on the outside and inside, Jeremy Miller in the middle of that 609 machine as now that's... Oh my gosh!
Contact with the 29 to 22, and there's the wreck.
And 30's hard in the wall.
Nope, we're green. Oh, maybe not for long.
There's the yellow.
There it goes.
That was a long wreck. It took all the way through 1 and 2 for that to finally trip the 17 around. And there was some big damage in that.
The long one at Daytona.
Yeah. It was inevitable, though. The energy level was just insane.
And I kicked off with the 29 and the 22 making contact here near the front of the field. I'm not sure if Jump got too big of a run, or the 22 checked up.
Oh, the 17 actually hit the back.
Oh, yeah.
Actually set the whole thing off, and then 97, I think, gets the shortest end of the stick right here, because watch the 30. Bam, and then the whole bumper comes off that. 70, 51. Takes a big wallop in the outside. Travis Beckner gets a piece of it. Ricky Springer. Whew. A lot going on there.
All right, well, that sets us up for a green-white checker finish. I believe this is the only attempt, or might be unlimited. Oh, 3. Okay.
New rule for this season: 3 attempts at a green-white checker. So it's gonna be fun.
we won't see 5 overtime restarts like we did yesterday for the cup race.
No, 3 attempts at this. I don't think it's going to take 3. Usually, the way that these plate races go is you get to the white and then all bets are off.
I really do love that they never changed that rule for iRacing.
Yeah.
Well, it's like not just race the line.
What was it about God or a checkered flag?
Put to the floor.
Right. Well, we got 2 laps until green here. Well, we've got a moment. We'll thank Elite Entertainment, a new partner here this season. They'll be a partner with us all year long. Add some life to the party this summer with Elite Entertainment. Located in Boiling Springs, South Carolina, Elite Entertainment provides high-quality band production to entertain at any location, including karaoke, Singo, which I guess is music bingo, Singo? Sing with a hard G. Singo, music bingo,
yes.
And more. You can visit Linktree/Elite Entertainment, LLC for contact information. Music. What is music bingo? You just play a song and you mark it on a board?
I would assume so. I've never played it either, but it sounds fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say it really sounds fun. I found it actually. Let's say music bingo. How does it work? So you receive a card with printed titles of printed song titles on it. And then they will play a part of the song, and you have to try to. Oh, okay. So they'll play a song, and basically, if you have the song on your card, you get the square. And you can sing along with it. Can't really sing along with regular bingo.
No, you can't. You get kicked out of the old people home.
How would you know?
I got kicked out. Oh boy. Jay Raybay says, songs replace the numbers, long story short. That would have been an easier way to describe it.
Yes, that was an easier. I was just reading off the website. The website made it too wordy, okay?
They have an official website for Singo?
Yes, they do.
Oh. All right, well, we should be getting our 2 to or our 1 to green this time by with the pace car lights will turn off. I have a funny story. Our Grid Life Motorsports director, Adam Jabay, was all excited about buying a brand new pace light for our safety car at Grid Life, and sent me a link. It was like $150. I said, that seems awful cheap, Adam. But we show up to the racetrack, and well, he has a Honda Fit that he put it on, and the mounts were too wide, so he had to put it on diagonally.
Oh boy.
And then the first thing that the corner worker said to me up in the flag stand was, man, that pace light is dim, and you could hardly tell it was even on. And then the Mid-Ohio safety trucks come out, and you could probably see those things from California. They were so bright. So I guess you get what you pay for, long story short.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I was going to say $150 does seem a little bit on the cheaper end if you need especially really bright lights during the day.
Yeah, so that didn't work out so well. Buy yourselves another one. All right, doubled up for the restart. Quick look on the left. This is your running order here as it is with manufacturers, and good mix in there. Not a lot of bow ties though, Finian. And while you're always looking to work with a teammate if you have one, If you don't have one, your next thought would be the manufacturer alliance. But for the bow ties, it's few and far between up there at the pointy end.
Yeah, I was going to say the big thing, though, is, again, for the open drivers, it's going to be me, myself, and I working to the front. If you somehow have any friends, work with them. And that's going to be big, I think, for drivers like the number 11 of Philip Groner. Because, again, he's got 2 teammates in this race that can help him. Do they have 2? Or just 1? I think just Seth Knoll. To try to help him to get near the front, because there's one more car for them to work with in the 500. But we will see, as all 25 drivers still out there running. And we'll see who's going to be taking it here. 2 laps to go. First attempt at green light checker.
Yeah, 3 open cars inside the top 10 real quick. Philip Groner, Reese Schaefer, and Nathan Jump inside the top 10.
Oh boy, pace cars off. 2 laps to go. If we get a yellow before the white, we'll re-rack him, restack him, and try it again. Green flag back in the air in the Area Cup Series. Duel number 1 for Daytona. 13 slides up and in between Hearn and Matthew Morton. Give them some time to build some momentum, and it'll be just as chaotic as it was prior to the yellow. Watch that 11.
Yep, trying to make some moves to the front. Knows now is the time to strike while there's no cars on the bottom lane, although he's going to drift back a little bit as Dom DeLeo gets up to snuff as he picks up Nathan Jump behind him.
3 wide towards the back, but Philip Groner is slow on that bottom. It's all the cars on the outside lane. Now here comes Reese Schaefer, going to try and lead the inside line.
And I thought he lost his nose.
Whoa, there he goes.
Oh, no!
Crash. We're still green. Everyone's facing the right direction. Do we get to the white flag? The white is out.
I think we will.
We will get to the white flag.
Holy cow.
A bunch of destroyed cars on the front straightaway, including Seth Knoll back there.
Up front, it's all Fazekas, though. Curran and Hearn leading the way with Jua and Morton running 3rd and 4th as they work their way down the backstretch for the final time.
Michael Curran, Cameron Hearn, nose to tail. There's only really 4 drivers in it. I don't know that the rest can get there. The 13 goes to the bottom. The 24 goes to block contact. The 4 is going to go for a wild ride. He's going to end up in the grass. And then there were 3.
I was going to say, I don't think Jua and Morton really want to risk it that much because they're locked in as it stands right now. But Jua's going to go for the lane around Michael Curran, and Curran has nothing for him.
Checkered flag. Drew Jua is going to win Duel 1 at Daytona. Wow. And the chaos we expected was there. Drew Jua gets it done. And celebration time. Looking to go for a run.
Gonna go take a lap around the house after that one.
Either that or
take a lap around the neighborhood.
He was holding in a race car pee there, I think, maybe. Michael Curran comes up a 10th short. But Reese Schaefer was the one that went around in a big way and took some people with him. Here's a look at what happened here.
Well, that's just a classic case of the commentator's curse from Finian there.
Yeah, I was like, oh, didn't he lose his bumper? And then he lost it.
Yeah.
Or almost lost it here.
Oh, the one got clobbered there at the end.
Yeah, I saw him get a good lick. I wasn't sure from who it was from. Oh, and then there he's his bumper.
Yeah. Tries to shoot this gap. Oh, the worst.
Oh.
We weren't in the session, ticked over right in the middle of that, but. Whew, man. All right. 1 down, 1 to go, boys. How was that?
Important to note that Philip Groner was the highest finishing open car in that duel. Robert Colgan finished 7th in that, and Jonathan Oates was inside the top 10. I think he got 10th there at the very end. So interesting to note as we head into the second duel with open cars in that one, trying to work their way into the Area 500.
Well, that was a fun one. And I'd like to see if we can chat with...
Wasn't Drew Jua the highest...
Yeah, because
the highest.
You know what? Yes, he was the highest because he's the Lucky Duck reserve driver. So that throws a little horseshoe in there with the hand grenades.
Well, a second field is going to line up here, and again, on the left-hand side of your screen is your Central Mobile Homes starting grid, and Braxton DeWeese has locked himself in, so he's good to go. James Scioli will start alongside him. It's Jacob Bell, Jake Matheson, Brad Slaughter Jr. Now, there's a handful of drivers in this field that have new numbers and some that have just basically taken over numbers and cars from other drivers, like Matthew Bell in the 8. So bear with us while we relearn everybody, but another 30-lap duel coming up here shortly. after a very exciting duel number 1. Gosh, the 500 is going to be fun, isn't it?
I'm curious to see how this is going to play out, because you can argue that Duel 1 was very chaotic, and typically we see one duel is fairly calm, one duel, and then one duel is just utter chaos. I would say Duel 1 might be in a little bit of the latter category.
Yeah, interesting looking at all these open cars. So really, we've only got 5 open spots now, with Duels being locked in from qualifying inside the top 2. And then Drew Jua winning the first duel, so
I
that
think
makes it 5.
Oh yes, that's yes, you're correct.
Well,
One by one, Finian and Kyle, they're slowly trickling down. Went from 7 open spots to 5 now.
Yeah. So 25 cars will be in this duel. The only one that will not be starting that you see on that left-hand side is Peyton Howell, who did not make a qualifying effort. Lewis Foster in that 26, that's a name we'll have to be keeping our eye on as well. And then, of course, how can you get through an area season without talking about Connor Horn? He's going to be in the booth with us on Tuesday and Thursday, as he was last year. But that 6:09.42 rolling off down towards pit out as the field is underway and getting warmed up before we turn them loose for 30 laps. Predictions, guys. Finian, you mentioned that one duel's crazy and one duel's usually calm. We got the crazy one out of the way. So who do you got?
Potentially. I mean, it could be crazier if these guys are really feeling for it.
I think the guys were looking at that one like, you thought that was crazy. You ain't seen crazy yet.
Now, I'm getting some information that, and I don't know, I'm going to be honest, the source of this information is suspect at best. That Brad Slaughter is racing with severe back pain and injury suffered while playing pickleball. And either that's a very serious injury, and it's amazing Brad Slaughter is racing with us tonight, or someone thought it'd be really funny to tell us that a joke about Brad Slaughter being injured while playing pickleball, because that's a funny sport to get injured playing, I think.
I mean, is it dangerous enough to get injured in pickleball?
And my source tells me that they're very credible, and it's very true. So
I guess you could. You run and step the wrong way. You can use a good name. Oh, it was back though. Yeah, the back injury. Like if he said it was like wrist or like an ankle, I could see it a little bit more. Back's a weird one.
The source is JT Pool in the YouTube chat. I'm just now reading that.
It's the Trust Me Bro source. I have the text. And JT says he's his pick to win. All right. He's going to roll off 5th place in the number 88. That red and black car there. Sorry. The blue and gray and silver car, just one up.
Yeah, we're so used to him in black and red, aren't we?
Oh, boy. Here we go. Duel 2 for the Area 500 is underway. Lap 1 complete. Scioli, Matheson, Newbigging, your top 3 first lap through.
Off they go, a really strong charge on that outside lane. That's really where the place to be is at the moment. They're building up a charge. The inside lane not quite getting together. Although, as I say, that looks like they're starting to make some sort of inroad near the front. It's the 00 of Duels who's leading that charge, and for him, he doesn't really care how this race goes out.
He's just kind of cruising for a bruising. He can afford to be involved in a wreck because of his starting position, which is 2nd for the Area 500, but it's for everyone else trying to start 4th, which is on that 2nd row, and currently being led by James Scioli on the outside lane. Matheson and Duels holding the top 3 with Newbigging there, the 3rd car on the outside.
Yeah, calmer first opening few laps here and more orderly lines, but still early days here. And a couple other new names, Jackson Anderson in the 83, joining us this season in his Chevrolet. See that black, red, and silver car right ahead of Matthew Bell. There's Jacob Bell rocking a new number this season in that number 6 Florida State Builders car.
Nice new number. Hopefully better luck with it. Jacob Bell and looking to see if he can seal the deal. Got so close just 2 seasons ago of winning this very race. The Area 500, and looking for better this season as that outside lane continues to go very strong with James Kelly mounting the helm.
He knows how to methodically place his car in these certain situations at these plate tracks, so wouldn't shock me if he's up there towards the very end. But right now, leading that bottom lane is the 77. And that's a pretty unique paint scheme there of Berger leading the inside lane down the backstretch.
Oh, big shove's coming now. I like that livery that he's got. Big shove from Braxton Deweese. Got nothing to lose, that 00. Now that car reminds me of the old Dale Jr. National Guard scheme.
Ooh, I see what you mean.
Boy. Yep, and well, we're 3 wide now. Here comes the middle groove.
That didn't take long.
Nope, and that's the 83 of Jackson Anderson leading that charge.
I want my track position, and I want it now. As the 83 charges, it makes a lane up through the middle, and they're actually working pretty well. Got the 42 Connor Horn in behind with the charge, and Bailey Turner as well, right in behind the 42's teammate.
You can see them all. They were in sync, moving towards the bottom of the racetrack there with the 42 of Connor Horn leading the way. Side by side with Ryan Hartz for 6th on the racetrack, now trying to work their way up towards the front. You see a little check up there on that outside lane. The 42 and 25 are all full speed ahead.
Yeah, they're moving up very quickly. These drivers have had experience racing each other before, usually as a competitor, not a teammate. If anything, it goes way back to 2020, 2019 even.
Yeah, so for them, it's been a while to race each other directly, at least in that series. Whoa, as a little bit of a checkup between those two, but yeah, they've normally been at each other's throats, if I'm not mistaken, in the past. And now they got to work together, but they're working together at least flawlessly at the moment. Like you mentioned, they've been moving in sync with each other, and that's what they need. Whoa, as a little bit of a dive up front as Jake Matheson elects to go from the top to the bottom lane in front of the 42.
It's like Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski being teammates.
Oh God, that would be something.
Oh, here comes the 42 and 25 to the outside of Jake Matheson. Connor Horn, new race leader, going to take charge here on lap 6, now on to lap 7. Turner there in the 25 still pulling through with the 7 of Scioli and the pink Solar Flare Racing Machine in third, heading into turn 1.
Oh, look at the 7. He thought about dropping to the bottom, but I don't think he would get there before that gap on the bottom was filled by the 54 of Jake Matheson, who's sporting new colors and things, as you guys pointed out earlier, the Slinger Racing graphics colors, and a big shove from Seth Berger in the 77, who dropped back a couple laps ago and now has enough momentum to shove an elephant into turn 3.
Quite the analogy there.
It's the biggest, heaviest thing I could think of at the moment, next to a
maybe a
Cybertruck.
Baby elephant. I don't know if you can push a fully grown elephant.
Saw a Cybertruck. I saw 2 Cybertrucks in the last day and a half, and they were equally as hideous. So,
what a diss to elephants!
I mean,
Wow.
it's just a dumpster on wheels, man. I don't even dislike Teslas, but that one,
Yeah, no, they definitely should have spent some more time in the design
or just
the design
in
phase.
the design in the trash bin would have been a good place
Yeah,
to spend more time.
that very much too as well. But looking at the field though, again, the 609 guys looking very strong up near the top. They're controlling both lanes, or trying to control both lanes. The bottom lane really hasn't come to anything at the moment with Jake Matheson in the lead, and I think he's just kind of content with just sitting there. Nowhere else really for him to go. Doesn't really need to go that much forward. He's content in the moment. Seth Berger in behind him in the 77. Braxton Deweese still third in line on the inside.
On board with Horn going into turn 1. We're about a third of the race done as they're still trying to get that bottom lane rolling. The 54 of Matheson and the 77 of Berger there. But here comes a push from Bailey Turner to teammate Connor Horn.
That was a big one there too, a big shove. Bottom lane not gathering the momentum that I thought we'd expect to see. That outside is looking pretty solid at the moment. But again, I have to say that this has been significantly less chaotic than the first one, at least so far. Now, things can change on a dime here, Finian, but so far your prediction has been somewhat accurate.
Yeah, it always ends up that way. It's kind of weird. There's really no rhyme or reason for it. It just happens to be. We'll say there are less open drivers in this race, 7 as opposed to the 10 that were in the first duel. But they're all racing fairly calm and collected as we're a third of the way on through. And like you mentioned, that can all change. All it takes is for one driver to just step out of line, make a wrong move near the front, and everyone's going to be in for a world of hurt.
Yeah, very orderly so far as you see. No three-wide racing, just side-by-side, one lane on the bottom, one lane on the outside. Some shuffling here and there, but nothing too risky so far. Connor Horn's still leading the way. Matheson's still trying to find a groove on the bottom to get alongside the 42. He's been able to get alongside his Horn's teammate Turner, and the 7 of Skyley with the 77 of Berger still pushing the 54 of Matheson.
Bailey's been really tucked underneath Connor Horn's rear spoiler there for quite some time. I'm actually surprised he hasn't overheated. There's a bit of a gap growing there, but as soon as you do that, you're going to open yourself up for attack from the bottom. So Bailey's going to get right back to pushing the 42 down the back straightaway. Watch Berger do the same with the 54. And a driver that's been lingering in this top 5 is Douglas Newbegin in that Ocean Cleanup Chevrolet Camaro.
Looking further back is a trio of Toyotas charging up the middle, being led by Brad Slaughter, and it's David Weishart, Mason Kane, working their way on through the middle, and they're actually making some progress.
Brad Slaughter listed as an open car here. He's won the Area 500 before. Got to go back to Season 2. One driver who's looking to claim his first Area 500 is David Weishart, riding in sim with him. You can see how much he's having to fight that steering wheel, running behind the 88 of Slaughter, making up some ground on the bottom lane.
Well, watch the run they're going to get on the back straightaway. Where do you go with this? Watch Slaughter ahead. Got a huge head of steam, and there's just nowhere to go unless you want to do 3 wide. So they're going to have to lift big.
And it should be noted, just taking a look at the Discords, and Brad Slaughter is hanging out with the Swan Motorsports drivers there because, as an open driver, doesn't have any teammates, so might as well find someone to work with. It'll help you out.
Watch the 8, Matthew Bell.
Not even a reserve driver either, as we see the 8 of Bell trying to peek his nose on the outside, going to force Doug Newbegin in the middle, and in the sucker hole he goes. So the 8 of Bell having to make the tough calls here. Going to run behind the 7 of Skyley, but moves himself 1 spot up and plenty of spots down for the 71.
Yeah, we saw it coming because we were looking out back while the 71 was looking forward, and in that time, he got sucker holed here. Dead heat on the back straightaway there. The 54 is pulled up relatively even, but now who can give a bigger shove? Watch Jacob Bell and Braxton DeWeese in that 00. Remember that 6th place 00. He's locked in, and all he's got to do is just have fun and hang out tonight, but he's not bowing out of it. P5 right now.
Ooh, a bit of a sack up in that bottom lane. See everyone moving out of line, trying to avoid getting involved. And looks like they'll continue onwards, but yeah, he's sitting in that 3rd lane in line, and there's Lewis Foster in the middle of all this in the number 26 machine. Kind of hanging out on that inside lane on the bottom.
Holding his own there, the new driver for Slinger Racing Graphics Esports, and the Indy Next points leader. As he's working his way through down the backstretch, looking to become a part of his first Area 500 in his first start. One to try and put that up near the front of the field, as Connor Horn going to jump to the inside and block the run from Matheson.
This is the first that we've really seen this group try to keep the momentum from going someplace, but Jake Matheson's not going to stand for it, and here comes the volatility. The 54 jumps to the outside. Ooh. He's going to bring Berger with him, and Braxton DeWeese gets put in the center.
And look at how much even the drivers in the middle lane, they completely slow down the drivers on the bottom lane, the top lane taking charge and charging to the front as the other 2 lanes try to reorganize.
That's James Shamewolf in the 75 there, just jumped down to the bottom right in front of Connor Horn. We're running in sim with him right now. He's going to try and push him and get back towards the front. And the 75 looking to make a name for himself and possibly put that car in victory circle at the end of this duel. But here comes the 77 Berger to the inside.
Yeah, big head of steam coming on that inside. The car on the apron, and there were 3 wide.
Who thought I almost saw a car on the wall further on back.
Uh-oh. Oh. Well, you might be speaking about 15 seconds in the future, Finian, because we're 3 wide back here.
Yeah, sorry, I read too far through the script.
Yeah. Whoa, look, the Berger's trying to hold off Matheson and took a swing at him and missed. 15 to go.
Yeah, for now, at least near the front, looks like the order has been restored. Now with Jake Matheson leading over Scioli and Seth Berger leading that bottom lane in the 77.
Seth Berger and James Shanewolf leading the bottom, but you see a mirror full of that 7, that bright 7 of James Scioli out the bumper of Jake Matheson. New race leader as we're halfway through this duel. Matthew Bell, Ryan Hartz, and Seth Berger rounding out the top 5, but 4 of those guys running the outside. Berger trying to get some momentum rolling on the bottom.
Yeah, laps are starting to click off again. This outside lane has been pretty dominant, but as soon as someone 3rd, 4th, 5th on back has the clearance to do that drop to the ground floor from the outside, they can make a big head of steam. But you see the 8 can't do that now because Berger's in the way. The 7 wouldn't be able to have enough momentum to get anywhere. So if that outside lane gets clear of the inside 5 or so cars, then they've got the opportunity to really create something wild. But Berger's got a huge head of steam with Shanewolf giving him a shove.
Hayden will try to make some moves near the front. Unfortunately, can't quite get there as Seth Berger tries to control both lanes. Who around the 8. The 8 of Matthew Bell looking around the 7 of Scioli puts him in the sucker hole. Whoa!
Oh, Jacob Bell on the apron. Where do you go? It's a bad place to be.
Yeah, they were checking up quite a bit. He's just going to go to the back of the pack here, as not only does the inside lane have to navigate him, they have to navigate the 7 of Scioli because he's in the sucker hole.
Oh, Mason Kane in the fence. Just scraped it.
That's fine. A little scratch. A little buff out.
Oh my, that is a miracle of Jake Matheson from the rear end of Seth Berger there in the 77 from Tank Racing. Looking to put himself on the 2nd row here by a win in this duel, but they're coming to 12 to go. Not sure how much he's going to have to fend for as the 8 and 3 teammates there for Solid Rock Performance coming to the front.
Not sure if it's a graphic effect that that Slinger Racing has done to this car, but something about that, the mapping on that Toyota has a really realistic sheen to the gray. I don't know if it's a spec map or something, but the reflections look great on it.
I assume it's probably a spec map, but yeah, I definitely agree. It does have a realistic.
Has a more shine to it than the normal car does, but hey, it's getting too quiet, guys. 11 to go next time by, and it's pretty tidy out there.
Oh, ask and you shall receive, I think. Because you remember, we have to consider the fact these open drivers are racing the guys from the first duel. And a lot of those guys finished well. Drew Jewell winning the duel, of course, and Matthew Morton finishing 3rd, Phil Groner in 5th, Robert Colgan in 7th, Jonathan Oates in 10th. That's what these guys are having to beat, so they need to perform well compared to the guys in duel number 1.
Yeah, the open drivers led the way that time by and is leading the way on the bottom. Seth Berger with the 8 of Bell and the 3 of Hartz. Going to get a massive run here on the outside as there's a checkup going on with the bottom. Matheson going to try and regroup heading into turn 3.
Big runs and dead even into 3. 2 by 2 by 2 all the way back. Coming to 10 laps to go. The 8 looking right, looking left, and he's going to go into the middle, but I don't know if that's going to work out. Who's going to follow him? That's the 3 of Ryan Hartz. And he's actually going to strand the 77.
It looks like it, and up near the front, Shane will end up pushing the 54 out of the line. Matheson dropped back to the outside lane, got picked up by Matthew Bell. That 77 drops all the way back to 11th.
3 wide racing throughout the pack as they roll down to the backstretch. Shanewolf, an open car, leading the 2nd duel here with less than 10 to go from Daytona. Connor Horn, Connor Okrezik, Jake Matheson, and Matthew Bell round out the top 5 as they're all single file on the outside lane.
So Connor Horn has found his way back to the front, but he's missing his teammate, Bailey Turner, who rides 2nd in line on the bottom down in P8. I think they'd like to get hooked back together. They were pretty successful until they separated Finian, and we only got 9 laps to get back that way.
Yeah, a lot of people are separated. I don't really see a whole lot of chunks of teammates really be able to get together and work together. It seems like everyone is kind of on their own at the moment. So it's kind of just work for yourself and get near the front. Whoa! 75 getting to 26 of Foster. Into the wall he goes, almost causing a wreck.
big moments happening in the closing stages of the second duel as we were looking at Landon Cardullo, the bright white 19, leading that. Well, I shouldn't say leading. He's behind the leader of that inside lane, which is Bailey Turner, who is now regrouped up towards the front with Lewis Foster leading on the outside lane.
Here he comes in the 26 to the outside. And Bailey Turner noses ahead at the stripe, but just 8 laps to go now in Daytona Duel 2 for the 6th Area 500. And again, 2 even lanes. And again, teammates separated. Connor Horn on the outside, Turner on the inside. A lot of drivers just fighting for themselves right now.
Everyone's fighting for themselves. The laps are winding down, and drivers need to decide, if they want to sit around waiting now, or do you want to... Oh, the 77 gets turned. Jacob Bell, hard to the wall, caution out in turn 3.
And it looks like there's a few others caught in it. The 41 of Tyler Nichols. And Seth Berger managed to miss it, I think, by coming to a grinding halt. But first,
look at all those race parts just scattered along the inside of turn 3 there.
First caution of Duel 2 at lap 23 of 30. It was actually the 77 fitting that you pointed got turned around. I thought, oh, the 6. What a hit for Jacob Bell.
Yeah, it looks like that all started. There was a checkup on that inside lane, and Brad Slaughter ended up getting in the wrong place, wrong time. Oh, his 6 got hit hard by Mason Kane there.
That might have worked out for Mason King because it looked like he drove through the 6 there.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. James Shamel from the 75. He might have gone a little tap or two there, but he had a great view of that whole incident.
David Weishart had a great view as well. A little scrape to the fence there, but did a nice job slowing to miss the 6.
Let's see if you want to ride on board with Brad Slaughter. He's trying to make a move here. He's trying to look for the gap. Didn't manage to make it through with some left side damage.
Here's Tyler Nichols.
Look out, Joe Hendry. It's not going to be pretty.
Couldn't see anything until the last second.
So first track, lap 23. And that's going to have a handful of cars, about a half a dozen of them on pit lane getting service to get repaired to go back on out. Now, here's the silver lining for Connor Horn and Bailey Turner. Are going to restart 2nd and 3rd with an opportunity to perhaps get hooked up. And as far as I can tell, they're some of the only teammates that are up here at the pointy end.
Yeah, I would agree with that assessment. I can't quite see anyone else. I think Matthew Bell and Connor Kresick for Solid Rock. I think they're close enough. They're 5th and 8th, so they're somewhat near each other, though they take a little bit of working together to get in line.
Another thing to note is that we're far enough away from the end of the race that we're not going to get a green-white checkered. And that means that we're going to build a lot of momentum leading up to 2 to 1 to go. So I wouldn't necessarily say that we're out of the woods of yellows just yet, because things where it really would get spicy is coming to the white. But on a green-white checker, you don't really have enough time to get wound up that high, but you certainly do if we start with 3 or 4 to go.
Yeah, I think we're going to be getting the restart, I think, might be next time by, because we didn't have any lap cars until this caution.
I believe so. So that'll be 4 to go. We'd get the restart. And I'm looking through now at the open cars. Senesac is the only open car inside the top 10. Got to go back to Nick Silver in the 99 there. The next open car, then Jackson Anderson and I was going to say Mason Kane, but he is a part of Swan Motorsports, so he is not an open car. But that's going to be huge because there's only 5 open spots, with Braxton DeWeese claiming the first one after scoring 2nd in qualifying, so he's automatically locked in. Drew Jua winning the first duel, so that brings it down to 5 open slots. So Groner, Colgan, Oates, and Nathan Jump are going to be looking at this pretty carefully, trying to see where the rest of the open cars slot themselves here at the end of the second duel.
Yeah, not just a straight up number of finishers. It's best 6 open finishers across both duels, with a tiebreaker being qualifying time. So both the results of Duel 1 and Duel 2 matter quite a bit. We're doubled back up. A couple of 609 Motorsports teammates there running second and third. And Lewis Foster running in the lead right now.
Calm before the storm, I would say. right about now, we're going to get the restart for 4 laps to go. And like you mentioned, that's perfect amount of time for these guys to get up to speed and cause some chaos. So though that being said, we did see a lot of chaos in only that 1 lap we had for the one and only gridway checker we had for Duel 1.
Now, as mentioned, Lewis Foster is currently the Indy Next points leader and has competed in a handful of international championships, including Formula Regional Oceania, USF Pro 2000, MRF Challenge, Euro Formula Open, British F3, F4, and Ginetta Junior. He's driven rally cars and competed in the British Touring Car Championship, and is now competing in Indy Next, where he is currently leading the standings with 4 wins in 8 starts and 8 top 10. So having a phenomenal season there, joining us here on a Monday night to try to qualify his way in and try to win a duel here. And he's got 4 laps to hang on in that Navara-sponsored Toyota Camry. 5 laps to go, make it 4 on the restart in Duel 2 for the 6th Area 500 into the restart zone, and it's a late start. Green flag back in the air.
Oh, the Ada Bell got into the wall there after the 09 of Senesac jumped up to try and block, and now we got multiple rows of 3 wide.
Yeah, we're already 3 wide just immediately after the start. And look at the 25 and the 42 getting hooked up on that outside lane. They're trying to get gone from the rest of the field.
Yeah, this is a critical moment here because we've got plenty of time to accelerate up to make
big
big
block
runs.
from the 14 of McCresick. Oh, man, and the 26 trying to block the 00 of Deweese. He almost got turned.
Going backwards is Foster at the wrong time here. There's still time to regain momentum here, Hunter, but it's going to have to come quick. Bailey Turner, Connor Horn, they lead, but it's chaos behind them.
Yeah, I'm looking at that 09 and Senesac. He restarted 3rd on the outside lane, so 6th overall, but he just dropped like a rock on that restart. Did not get a good launch at all. Still plenty of time to get back up.
Oh! There they go. 31 around the wall. A couple more cars around the 33 riser, and he collects another driver, and 2 more crash.
And now we'll enter overtime as we'll have 3 attempts at a green-white checker. Tyler Nichols involved in that again. The 33 of Weishart coming down and clipping into him. But man, oh man, we were in sim with Senesac there for a moment, but he just narrowly escaped that.
Yeah, this happened kind of in front of him here. I'm going to have to slow this one down, guys, to have a look at how this starts, because it's just in the middle of a big pack here. But watch, is it the 00? Watch the 09 right there. Goes to go into the middle of the 00. He gets into Kane. The 9 gets shuffled off to the left. And then it's kind of 2 separate wrecks right here. And 33 gets clipped in it. And then the 41, bam.
Yeah, there's a collision with Jake Emery, who's unfortunately, he's going to be out of it. One of the open drivers trying to race their way in. His car is destroyed.
Whoa!
Is that Brad Slaughter working his way through?
Might have been.
Yeah, I think that's right on board here. Whoop. He got in. Yeah, he got into it.
Yeah. Made through the second part.
Yeah, 0-2, Jacob Emery. This is a hard hit. He was almost through.
He got walloped there by the 33 of Weishart. He had the right idea of checking up, but then he got back in the throttle, and that's kind of where his trouble started again.
Yeah, and it was, again, the 09 of Senesac. Got to go back a little further. So here's what he sees. A little higher up, though, on the top of the roll cage here. slightest touch.
Yeah, off center. Of course, with these curved bumpers with the next gen car, you have to be fairly square to make contact, otherwise you're gonna risk getting another driver turned around.
But now we'll be in a green-white checkered. We are in overtime now. We've got 30 laps. We're on lap 30 now. This would have been the last lap. But we're going to have 3 more to go.
Yeah, 609 looking pretty strong at the moment, running 1 and 2, so they'll be controlling the restart.
Do you want to be controlling it, though, Hunter? With coming to a restart like this, you're going to have both lanes, but it's going to make everyone doubly aggressive behind you. And in this case, I think with Bailey and Connor both leading, they're both going to be looking out their mirror. So this is going to get interesting to watch on this restart.
Unless there's an agreement between the two where one driver's going to let the other in and then just try and work together that way, they could very well just work both lanes. They have the opportunity to do that. Block both lanes at the same time. Connor Horn kind of strategizing right now with Bailey Turner how that's going to go. I'm not sure how they're going to work with that, but only time will tell.
And how about Cardullo in the 19 running in 3rd in that unsponsored car? And making waves tonight, isn't he? Running P3 Finian after starting this race in 23rd place, one of the last couple of rows.
Looking at that, yeah, I was trying to just kind of get an idea of where everyone's running here, especially the open drivers, because that's the big story for this race. And I'm sure all the drivers from Duel 1 that were a little bit in the middle of the order, they're kind of looking, just kind of hoping things play out where they make their way in. There's only got 2 more laps to go here. Going to get the 1 to green this time by at the line.
Yeah, Senesac's still the highest open car. Nick Silver is second up in this duel. Then Jackson Anderson and James Shaywolf there inside the top 15 as we do get the 1 to go, so we'll be going green this time by.
So now everyone takes a deep breath, and we're kind of in the same scenario as we were in Duel 1, where it's just making it to the white, but that's only half the battle. You have to survive the last lap, and that was that can be a pretty big challenge in itself once there's no risk of any yellow and moves get real big.
Yeah, the thing I was going to ask was, do we think this can be the only attempt?
Yes, I think so. This pack has been, I mean, I know it got crazy there recently, but this group has been a little bit tidier than the first group, and they made it. I just don't think that there's enough time to really spin up the vortex, right? Like, it'll get chaotic on the white flag lap, but the entire first lap of the restart is mostly just getting up to speed. So you don't have the massive runs that cause those wrecks. Could someone make a mistake and trigger yellow? Sure. I just don't think that you're going to see it be as likely as if we had a 3 or 5 lap run to the end.
Looks like also Brad Slaughter has retired down on pit lane, so he's definitely not going to be making it on through. Jacob Emery, of course, you mentioned he was involved. Another open driver, he's not going to be on through. Jacob Bell, missing his nose, but is still trying to run out there, see if he can make it on through. With some hope and determination.
And some luck.
It's going to need a lot of luck.
It's the spirit of the modified that's inside the 6 right now.
He's going to have to hope the majority of the field wrecks on the white flag lap, and he's going to snakes his way on through.
Well, coming to the restart. It'll be working lap 32 of 33. Now 3 laps over our scheduled distance here for duel number 2 for the 6th Area 500. Who's going to win it, and what 6 open drivers advance to the Area 500? Bailey Turner and Connor Horn from 609, green flag. Turner jump up to the outside groove ahead of Connor Horn. It's going to let Cardullo and Matheson get paired up on the bottom, but big shoves there from teammates and assistance from Matthew Bell and Connor Okrezik, another pair of teammates in behind him.
Yeah, they're trying to see if maybe they can move to the inside lane. They got enough cars clear. They're clear. Looks like they're staying there for now, and they're still staying there off into turn 3. I see the 26 of Foster looking in the background, trying to lead a charge on that bottom lane as we come to turn 4.
2609 Motorsports drivers running 1, 2, 3 Solid Rock Performances cars behind them. White flag in the air, one final time from Daytona.
2.5 miles and 2 pairs of teammates up at the front. Big moves coming. Look at Scioli. He's got a big head of steam with Jake Matheson giving him a shove. Big moves into turn 1, and here comes the 14 to the bottom.
The 14 looking to the bottom. Big block from Connor Horn trying to keep the 8 at bay, and there comes Matthew Bell with a big charge. Foster around in the background makes contact. 2 cars wrecking off the back straight. The leader still duking it out.
Off into turn 3, 1 car going wild in the grass. The 14 of Okrezik and the 25 of Bailey Turner side by side for the dual win as they head off turn 4 for the final time.
Watch the 8 coming with a big head of steam. He's going to try to go to the center. The 42's in it. They're crashing. Everybody's crashed. Who's going to get there first? Is it Turner? Sideways across the line.
I think Senesac. He blinked down at the line.
No, Deweese got it.
Oh, no.
Something happened at the end, and Senesac is scored P18 in dropping.
He lagged out, I think.
Oh, my goodness. I cannot believe that just happened.
Well,
no, it's saying he won. It's saying he won.
Now he's back.
He won.
It's saying he won.
That's what I was going to say, because I thought he was ahead of the 0-0,
Well,
but I think
he lagged out.
Yeah.
And when he returned, it gave him the win. Wow.
Back from the grave.
Well, let's relive that.
Died in 2012, reborn in 2024. Welcome back, James Busher. That was a James Busher performance from Bryce Senesac. Oh, man.
I mean, what? I mean, this is... So, the 09...
Yeah, well, you got the rewind a little bit more. There he is. Yeah. Disappears.
There you see a spark trail.
Like Ghost Rider.
Wow. And then the
This
wreck.
is one of the more confusing finishes that we've seen in area history, as the winner just disappears.
No, you know what it was? He hit the mark. Back to the Future.
He was well above 88
You can
miles
see
an
the
hour by
trails
that
there.
point,
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Great Scott!
Yeah, I mean, that...
The carnage just unfolds. Everyone's going all over the inside pit wall, the grass, the outside wall. I want to look back at where Senesac was, because I think he was outside the top 10 when all this was unfolding.
Well, you see him out there on the outside. I mean, he's well outside the top 10 there. And then the
he was
7
right around 12th or 13th when all this started transpiring.
Yeah, the 8 comes down and collects the 42. Well, Connor Horn's perspective of this has got to be pretty entertaining as well. Got to go back and find it again because the order has shuffled because the session is turned over. But Connor Horn had quite the view out his windshield here. So here is what he saw. And then Braxton Deweese in the 0-0 also. I mean, he thought he had it, I'm sure, for a very long time because he's going to watch the 09 disappear. And then right here, he thinks he's got it.
Poof. Off to the future.
Wow.
Oh, and guess where Jacob Bell finished? In 4th. There he is.
That is
I said he needed a wreck. He needed a massive wreck. I said he needed everyone to wreck in front of him, and they did.
That might have been enough to earn his way into the Area 500. We're still waiting on official word, but I still don't know how I feel about that because we had Calamity coming to the finish, and then the winner of the race, for now, just vanished.
Yeah, I mean, every year something unprecedented, right? I mean, we've had the yellows come out, with coming to the white that, we couldn't ever guarantee that the leader had actually ever led the race and was still scored the winner. And now we have a winner that didn't even cross the line. I mean, the scoring and the rules, it's always takes the iRacing scoring, but I mean, if the driver wasn't there.
I mean, I guess it compared to Senezak's time locally, right? And then as soon as he reconnected to the server, the data updated.
I mean, he was leading by quite a bit. It's not like it would have been that
Yeah.
close, but regardless, I mean, if you're Duels, you got to at least throw your hat in the ring and say, hey, man, if he wasn't on the track.
Well, at least with Duels, he's locked in either way, right? So it doesn't necessarily matter too much to him, but I'm sure he would have liked the duel win.
I think so.
There's only one time I can recall where something similar to this happened, and this was quite a few years back with Ryan Swan. So he was running around 18th or 19th in a truck race at Daytona. They're heading into turn 1 on the last lap. The entire field wrecks. He disappears. He's heading off into the wreck. His truck disappears, and he comes out the other side, and he wins the race. That's the only other time I can recall this happening, but in area, this is a first for me.
Well, while we wait, this is the fun stuff here. Just photos and a fun 3-lap race here at the end of this night, just to blow off some steam after a pretty interesting evening. We broadcast it last year. We might as well this. But we're still waiting for results to come in to tell us who is in and who is out. So bear with us.
I see Carter Coop. He's typing away in our
boy.
Official chat. So I think he's getting that all sorted out as far as who made it, who's going to be out. It is going to be close because a lot of the guys that are finishing very well amongst the open drivers.
Yeah, I would not want to be in charge of sorting out who was where. But, well, interesting night of qualifying and getting set for next week's race. Of course, we have all 3 series once again on SimTV, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays for 2024. And the Cup Series on Monday, the Truck Series on Tuesday, and the Florida State Builders Pro Series on Thursday. It'll be myself and Connor Horn on Tuesdays, then myself, Connor Horn, and Hunter Sleppy on Thursdays, and of course, Hunter, Finian, and I on Mondays. Now, Finian, we're getting some messages and notifications.
Yeah, so those are the results from Duel 2 as far as for the open drivers.
All
I
right.
think Carter's trying to sort them out as far as who's going to be moving on.
So while that's happening, we got this race on the screen that we'll show you while all the votes are tabulated. Stop the count, right? Here we go. Yeah. So this is going to set our field for next week, and then if you're not in it, Hunter, if you miss the 500, what's next for teams that don't make it?
Well, just gotta go back to the drawing board and then recoup for the next race, which would be Texas, and that's a first for area. We have never been to Texas before, and we already know how much of a conundrum Texas is in itself in real life. So, only can you imagine what it's going to be like in the sim.
You know, we've had some pretty good races there. I'll be honest. It races a lot better in iRacing.
It does race a lot better in the sim than it does in real life, begrudgingly.
One of the few places that does, actually. So that's great. But meanwhile, 2 to go in this race. Bryce Senezak trying to win this one for sure, huh?
I'll do it again.
Now, if he mysteriously lags out of this one, someone's got to check his desk for a switch.
Leg switch.
Where's Ray Alfalo when you need him? Oh boy, here comes Mason Kane, big shove. Big moves here. It's just fun when you only have 11 or 12 cars in the race. You can only fall down so far, so the aggression level comes way up.
Yeah, those guys are just keeping their foot to the floor at this point. White flag for them. Blink and you'll miss it race here, 3 laps. White flag already out.
Literally, blink and you'll miss it.
But
this is the area 7.5. And Connor Horn trying to redeem himself here. Brad Slaughter Jr. just trailing him down now. Can anybody build a run to beat him? Or is it a 2-man race here? We're still waiting on results, by the way. No, not reckoning yet. Still waiting on results, so you haven't missed anything. You're about to see Bryce Senezak really try to drive home the fact we won. Here he comes.
Here we go.
Here he comes. Here he comes. He's got him this time.
Racing redemption at his hands.
The wheel is still and perfect.
Oh, no longer still.
To the grass. Douglas Newbegin.
Oh, and there they all go.
Oh, up on the
That's
lid.
Jake Nichols riding the wall.
wall riding was illegal.
He's pulling a Corey LaJoy.
Oh, man.
All right. Oh, and as this race comes to conclusion, we have our order.
Oh, well, that's...
Gosh. Horrible crash. All right. With that out of the way, wow, that looks like Christopher Bell's Truck Series wreck from a couple of years ago. Man.
Yeah, it did.
Okay, all that aside. Here we go. Locked drivers are as follows, and there's a stipulation here, pending anything weird, that Duels, Juha, Senesak, Bell, Groner, Colgan, and Silver are the ones advancing and making it to the Area 500 next week. So, Hunter, Duels, Juha, Senesak, Bell, Groner, Colgan, and Silver, they are in, pending anything weird. Final thoughts there on our Daytona qualifying.
Interesting to note what anything weird is. I'll have to, after this broadcast is over, I'll have to go up and ask what they mean by that. But overall, pretty good, solid racing from both Duel 1 and Duel 2. Qualifying was more intense than what I thought it would be, with the open car locking himself in. That's Duels. And then, how about that? Both open cars won both duels. Drew Gia and Bryce Senesak. That is, I don't think that's ever happened before.
And it was Seth Knoll that was our pole sitter, right? I'm remembering
Yes,
that
it was.
correctly. Oh, let's talk to him. Seth Knoll, pole winner for the Area 500 in season number 6. Seth, you were very aggressive in the duel because you could be. No worries about wrecking the car. You were on pole next week and really kicking things off where you'd like to be. P1, can you keep it there next Monday?
That's the hope, man. Hopefully we can capitalize a little bit better late, like we didn't do last year, and like we did 2 seasons ago. Trying in P1. Finally got our 500 pole. I've been crying about that for long enough. I finally got it. But I appreciate the Solar Boys. We got Philip in the field, so we're gonna have 5 of us. He was able to make it in that first duel. And that's all I got.
Well, Seth, hey, congratulations, man. This is going to be a fun one. Some new teammates to race with as well. And 5 of y'all in that race is going to be a blast to watch. Congratulations, and we'll see you next week.
I appreciate it, boys.
All right, Bryce Senesak, winner of Duel 2. I don't know how, I don't know why, but Bryce disappeared coming across the stripe, and then bam, you win. Congratulations, and what a job well done you had tonight. Take us through that last lap. You were not even in the top 10 entering turn 3, but poof, out of the mist comes Bryce Senesak for a duel win.
Speechless. I mean, the second to last restart, I kind of got jumped there. I didn't expect the 8 to get on my outside, and I kind of got hung out in the middle and was inside was the right place. I don't know if the 00 net coded me or if he just came across me to cause that big one. But then last race I was like, I can't give up the outside. I can't be lazy on him. I just stuck there. They all wreck. I get my foot in and I somehow won. So I mean, I could still see everybody. I know you guys couldn't even see me. Couldn't see the green car. How about that? But I mean, I was kind of freaking out there because I knew I was first across the line, but then it showed me like 18th, 19th, 20th. Like, I know I won that thing. And then even in the Discord or in the channel, they're telling me like, no, you won that. And eventually it showed me first. So insane.
Eventually it did. Bryce Senesak, Duel 2 winner here for the Area 500. Good luck to you next week, Bryce, and thanks for chatting.
Yeah, thank you.
And it was Drew Jua that won duel number 1. It was a chaotic duel, to say the least, but Drew, congratulations. Duel 1 winner. Through all the chaos and carnage, you came out on top. Take us through your evening and get into the very pointy end right at the stripe.
Yeah, it was all about saving those temps. I was working well with some of my affiliate teammates. We were just trying to keep up front, and with about 10 to go, we kind of got split 3 and fell all the way to the back, and I had a miracle run through the field and ended up getting the second, coming to the GWC, and we kind of split. There was kind of 2 little tandems, as me and Matt and Cameron and Michael, and Michael blocked it perfectly, and I guess Matthew thought I was going to go 3 and kind of collected him, and I looked back at it, and Cameron's car phased through my right rear, so how I was able to get even into turn 3 was pretty remarkable, and I think I made the move a little too early, but side drafted Curran just a little bit, and he was never able to get back to me. So 1 for 1 in my area career, and we'll look to go 2 for 2 in the Area 500.
Well, we'll see you next week, Drew. Congratulations, and thanks for chatting.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap up our qualifying evening, and it was a long one, almost 3 hours of coverage here this evening from single car qualifying to the 230-lap duels. Finian, this is going to be a great area season, the strongest qualifying we've ever seen, the most cars we've ever seen. We're gearing up for something great in Season 6.
Yeah, no, I've been loving it because the field has been getting stronger every single season. We've been seeing better and better drivers join this series. The competition has increased, and it just keeps getting a whole lot better for everyone overall. So cannot wait to see everyone get underway next week for the Area 500.
Hunter?
Yeah, I'm very excited that area is back as well, and no better place to kick it off than Daytona for not only the Cup Series, trucks on Tuesday, Pro Series on Thursday. Ready to get back into the full swing. It's been a long, long off season, Kyle, but I am more ready than ever to watch these cars go around the track at Daytona.
Yeah, this is a big race for the area group, and of course, season number 6 of the Area Cup Series, coming in with it being one of the strongest rounds we've seen so far. I think that's all very exciting, but there's still a long way to go in the season and here at Daytona, because the Area 500 is coming up next week. I'm Kyle Heyer with Finian D'Acuna and Hunter Sleppy. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. But on our way out, let's remind everybody why Daytona is such a big deal.
If there's one place that defines American motorsport, it's here. The sandy beaches a few miles away held races for decades. It's where NASCAR was born. They need a place to race, a superspeedway so fast and so huge that the cars could run flat out all the way around. 1 million square yards of earth was moved to create the banking. The void left behind became Lake Lloyd. It built the foundation of NASCAR. In the decades that followed, Daytona became hallowed ground. The trophies here mean more than any other. Win the 500? Put your name on the Harley J. Earl Trophy. Win the 24 hours and strap a Rolex on your wrist. The banks are not always kind. They're not always fair. And while Daytona wins bring a statistical highlight to any career, it's the losses that make it seem pointless. But for every untimely ending, there is a triumphant healing. For every emotional victory, a mind-numbing realization. I won at Daytona.
Won the last TCR race of last year, Road Atlanta, starting things off.
The checkered flag waved for me.
It is victory for Tom O'Gorman and the LA Honda World Team.
While it may be a highlight, it is only the beginning.
Yeah, how could you not be smiling? I mean, if you'd have told me yesterday about this time that we'd be sitting here, I wouldn't have believed you. It's just the best day ever.